reality every Sunday morning at 7 a.m. on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 a.m. WVON.
This report is brought to you by AutoZone. AutoZone, get in the zone. Starting Stronger starts at AutoZone, where they've got battery solutions in the form of free battery testing, free battery charging, and replacement batteries that fit your needs. That's what makes them America's #1 battery destination. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
The views expressed on our programs are not necessarily those of WVON, Midway Broadcasting Corporation, or our participating sponsors.
1690 WVON remembers the Reverend Jesse Lewis Jackson Sr.
I am black, beautiful, proud. I must be respected. I must be protected. I am somebody.
You were a beacon of light, not only for Chicago, but for the nation. From our family to yours. Rest in peace, Reverend Jackson. Job well done.
Live from the Xfinity Studios at WVON, it's the Cleopatra Show on Chicago's essential storyteller, 1690 WVON.
Na Diva is a female version of a hustler, of a hustler, of a hustler. Na Diva is a female version of a hustler, of a hustler, of a hustler. Stop the track, let me stay fast. I told you give me a minute and I'll be right back. 50 million around the world and they said that I couldn't get. I done got so sick and filthy with binges I can't spin. How you gonna be talking? You act like I just gotta beat it. Been the #1 diva in this game for a minute. I know you're hesitate for the one that they call a queen. Every radio around the world know me 'cause that's where I be. Na Diva is a female version of a hustler, of a hustler, of a hustler. Na Diva is a female version of a hustler, of a hustler, of a hustler. When he pull up, wanna pop my hood up.
And we are back. The time is 9:10. You are listening to the Cleopatra Show. We are up live on Facebook. Be sure to like the WVON page. Interact with me. I'll be sure to talk back with you. If you'd like to keep up with me exclusively, be sure to follow me across all social media platforms. Yes, he's here. That's right. My mayor, our mayor, Mayor Brandon Johnson is joining me live at the top of the show. So we'll run the clip at 9:30 for those of us. Class, it has been altered, but class is in session. Mayor Johnson, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing well, Cleopatra. Thanks for asking. You did a wonderful job emceeing our Black History Month celebration at the Cultural Center. So thank you for everything that you do for our city and for our people.
Oh, absolutely. I was very humbled to have the opportunity. Like I said, to all the dashikis and African garb, everybody did their thing, even the regular Black folks. Amen. Listen, last night was a blast. I look forward to the next year. So if you missed out, that's okay. Get on Mayor Johnson's good list, get on the email list. You can get there too. Where there's a will, there's a way. So Mayor Johnson, on the top of the ticket, it's been a lot of state of the states. You got the state of the state, you got the State of the Union next week, and I'm gonna give you an opportunity to give us a prelude of the state of the city.
Yeah, well, look, we are in a much stronger position today than we were when I took this position, nearly 3 years ago. In May, as you know, I'll be celebrating my 3rd year as mayor of this beautiful city. It's been an incredible, humbling experience, but it's been quite the joy. And I said that we're going to build the safest, most affordable big city in America. And we are on pace to do that by making the necessary investments into our communities, right? And so as a result of expanding youth employment, 31,119 young people for summer jobs, we've reopened mental health clinics and expanded mental health care that was shuttered. We're building more affordable homes to our missing middle, creating owner-occupied generational wealth building opportunities on the west and south sides of Chicago, and then violence is down. Look, there's a lot more work for us to do, but we had the fewest amount of homicides in 60 years, the safest summer in 65 years. One act of violence, of course, one shooting is one too many, one homicide is one too many. And we cannot ignore the fact that we're making progress. And then finally, I've been very intentional about ensuring that we are investing in public schools, in our public schools, and ensuring that we are investing in Black development. And I've sent $500 million into our public schools in this year's budget. It's the first time ever in the history of Chicago where that amount of investments have been sent to our children and our families. So we're building a better, stronger, and a safer city, and we're doing that together.
And you said that with ease, so let me dial it back. More than $500 million, so that's with a B, Black folk, Black America. Because we talk across the nation. So yes, our mayor gave more than $500 million to our children, the first in historical history. So when we're begging a question, what's going on? The number one thing I want to highlight, and it is important, crime is down. And folks would say, well, how is crime down? And you just reported on this. This is not a utopia. This is not a perfect world. In fact, because we're in a major, large city, the third largest in America, there will be incidents. But the initial run, Mayor Johnson, correct me if I'm correct, it was based on who can deliver a plan to bring crime down. And then you added everything else. Did I get it right?
You did. Look, in 1974, there were 970 murders. In 1995, there were 828 murders. In 2016, there were 778 murders. In 2021, there were 805 murders. Look, I look at this stuff on a daily basis because it is my top priority. And, last year we, still too many, but there were 423. I mean, the national average dropped across this country, but we were double the national average, right? So we saw almost a 30% reduction. Now, look, there's a lot more work to be done. And when we're saving lives for Black folks, right? And that's something that is always at the top of my list, to make sure that we're making the necessary investments to give people opportunity and purpose. But we're also solving crime too, Cleopatra, because we have to hold people accountable and bring closure to the families who have lost loved ones. And those data points don't bring the lives of those who were lost back, right? But we did solve 71% of the cases that were brought before our detectives. I made a promise to hire 200 detectives. I believe we've hired 250 since I've been mayor, because that's the type of work that has to be done to bring closure to these families. And by solving these crimes, my theory is that when we hold people accountable, that works as a deterrent. So again, investing in our public education system and investing in our people, the number of Black developers that are breaking ground across this city, these are, of course, a top priority for me. And I'm going to continue to make sure that our people get their fair share. We're not excluding anyone. Bringing people together is important. And I do believe that we are all better when we work to repopulate the west and south sides of Chicago and invest in our communities that have been historically ignored.
One thing about it, as you were talking, I was thinking, and I'm always saying to my listening audience, what makes me feel safe is when Black folks are working. What makes me feel safe is when the unhoused is housed. What makes me feel safe is when the sick can receive health care. What makes me feel safe is when my children are educated and loved. And what makes me feel even safer is when we all have a quality of life that we deserve. And too often, I think through the noise, I am making a declaration that we can sift through and see the works, because we'll always say faith without works is dead. But if you don't look for the work, it will be lost in the sauce. And you don't have to look high and low, because these things are happening all at once. So case in point, to add to your commitment for the families that have been gravely wounded, that magnitude of hiring detectives was no easy feat, and you measured that as soon as you walked in the door. And on our show here, we have a segment entitled Help Find My Killer, because Black folks need a portal of where they feel that they can come and tell their story, and that maybe somebody can add to the tip line to help solve the case quicker and bring some type of solace, some type of healing to families that have been gravely wounded. So I want to thank you for that. And the work that we're doing here complements it in a special way, because our platform is 63 years strong, and it wouldn't be a platform without the listeners. So for those of us that know something about it, we need to speak up. On the live line with me is our mayor, your mayor, Mayor Brandon Johnson. We're going to take a quick break. I'm going to open up the phone line, 773-591-1690. Oh, no. Okay, excellent, Mayor. It's because of you I don't have to pay no bills, so we can keep going. It's because the mayor is on the live line. Amen. So listen, and in addition to that, I want to just pull off the Band-Aid, because, you know, the weather is getting warmer, and you are embarking upon 3 years. And as we walk through this next election, there will be folks leaping out the water saying what they can do. And a lot of it is already what you're doing. But in saying that, talk to Black folk that need to talk to their cousins to ignite them around the work that you're doing, and connect the dots as to how that impacts them, how that has changed and improved their lives.
Yeah. Well, look, let me just, first acknowledge that, for Black Chicago in particular, we've had a really tough run, to say the least, over the last 30 years plus, from schools being closed to our mental health clinics being shuttered, public housing being dismantled, not having access to good paying jobs, to your point. That's how we secure communities, by having real economic vibrancy. And it's why, I've worked hard to, one, ensure that we repopulate the city of Chicago, but more importantly, that we repopulate the city in the communities where we've been forced out of, right? The population loss in Chicago is directly tied to the disinvestment in Black Chicago, whether it's down State Street or whether it's, the lack of opportunities on the West Side and anywhere and everywhere else. And so that's why, I've worked hard with community organizations to turn city lots over to community organizations that are going to build affordable housing in Roseland, in North Lawndale, in Inglewood, in Austin, and that work is happening. I've also been very intentional about, ensuring that the people who do the work and do the development, they have to look like us, right? And again, this is not, at the exclusion of other people, but I've been unapologetic about ensuring that our people get their fair share. I think about, NOSA, whose father was a Black immigrant, NOSA is the first Black prime contractor to build out at an airport in the United States of America in cargo. And that contract went to a Black construction prime developer. And there are countless examples like that. And then I think it's important that the people of the city, and particularly our people, recognize that, that we have like real investment in our young people. And I've been working really hard to ensure that our young people have good paying jobs, and we're looking to expand these opportunities. We have a lot of work to do. Don't misunderstand me. And I know that the 30 plus years of disinvestment, turning that around in 3 years, that's a heavy lift. It's not that we're not working hard to do that. Repopulating the west and south sides of Chicago with our people, affordable homes, good paying jobs, and having safe communities like that. That is still my guiding principle.
No, and you know what? I think, it's like the bat signal. A number of folk that have been here all our lives, me being one, we see the bat signal. But I also see where there's smoke, there's fire. And too often, the shiny pity, I don't know if that's going to work. I think one thing that is undeniable about where we're at in this moment is what we do with this moment.
Mhm.
And in the spirit of A.G. Gaston, I've been singing his praises a lot. Jimalita Tillman did a wonderful production in tribute to him. And in saying that, you find a void and you fill it. And I am saying this to Black America. When we elect, we put our vested belief and interest and support behind a person. It is not to leave them there. It is to stand with them and support them and work alongside. And it does have to do with the spirit of democracy, but our salvation. Right now, it is under attack. We are living under and through a regime. And in saying that, this too shall pass. But when it does, what did you do to help build? And that is the question that I'm always asking, especially folk that may push back on anything and everything we do. And I'm not just saying you, Mayor Johnson, I'm saying everybody. So ultimately, you know, I want us to weigh in on that, especially as we have, you know, discussed the late, great Jesse Lewis Jackson Sr., who has transcended on to become an ancestor of ours, a spiritual warrior that I truly believe will be batting all the way for Black excellence across the globe. What does those stairs mean to you? It begs the question of where you're at in this moment and what you're willing to do.
Well, one of the things, and you're absolutely right, Cleopatra, one of the things that I do draw strength from in this moment is we mourn the loss of, you know, our dear brother. He was a mentor, he was a friend to so many people. You know, he looked and saw somebody in everybody. And he challenged me when we were on a trip together to Selma. And he talked about how important it is that in organizing, all of us have to do our part. But he also talked about how difficult that is for people who are living in disparate, you know, circumstances. And when you're organizing and trying to pull the best out of people and they're suffering and living through very harsh conditions, it can be discouraging. And what he said to me was that, you know, now that history has proven us to be right, everybody in Nuamah, you know, claims to have been on the Edmund Pettus Bridge. And that wasn't the case, right? It was a handful of people that continued to organize and push, and it made a difference. By the time they crossed the bridge, of course, met with so much hatred and violence, but our people stuck to it. And that's, I believe that's what you're calling out, is that, you know, leadership is not always perfect, and I don't claim to be. I certainly have learned a lot about myself and our people and the conditions of this country. It's why I've used executive authority to push back against Donald Trump. And if you look at those executive orders that we put forward, cities across America have embraced those same executive orders.
I want to talk to you about that because you're right. I think, you know, I'm probably sure you all say that in your administration. Like, didn't we just do this? Like, when it comes to the EO that you drew up to protect us against ICE, because that's the best way I want to put it, because ICE is literally out here killing people. You know, you got pushback for that, and I be trying to make it make sense. Like, you know, the death of Renee Good and Alex Preddy was real. And one thing I raise up about Renee, her mother said she was good, and so did her neighborhood. In addition to that, the only difference between she and I is she's Caucasian and I'm African. And some days African American and other days Black. Bottom line is she's a mother of three and I'm a mother of three, and she was gunned down just tragically for the world to see, alongside Alex as well. So I thank you for that, EO. But when does the opposition just say, you know what, this is the right thing to do? This is the right side to be on, despite the politics. When does it ever stop?
Yeah, that's a great question. Look, I don't have the answer to that. What I can say, you know, Cleopatra, is that, you know, we lead with our convictions and our values. And, you know, I'd be remiss if I didn't acknowledge, of course, the young brother, the Black man on the west side of Chicago who was put in an illegal chokehold and by federal agents. And we know that is a death sentence for our people. And, you know, the overreach of federal government is an attack on all of us. And that's why I push so hard for accountability. Yesterday, I believe it came out that the state's attorney, after my executive order, calling for a pathway to accountability and prosecution, the state's attorney here in Cook County has issued protocols that will now create a pathway to do that. And, you know, look, there was some initial pushback.
It sure was, because I reported on it.
And I'm putting that politely, right?
Me too.
It didn't stop us from moving forward with our efforts. I mean, I got a chance to see some of the things that are in the budget for the state of Illinois. And one of the proposals that came from the governor was a tax on these big tech companies. That's something that I introduced and passed in my budget, right? And we're using those resources here in Chicago, of which we've already collected almost $4 million from these big tech companies, and we'll continue to collect more to go towards mental health, right? And so it's not just about taxing these big corporations. It's about making sure that we're investing in the needs of people. But to your question, you know, even with opposition, you know, Reverend Jackson reminded us that, you know, keeping hope alive was not just a hashtag or an axiom. It was literally about action. And, you know, what we saw, what the state's attorney did yesterday, it's a clear example that when we lead and we put our values out in front, the hope that Reverend Jackson talked about is that people will see what we're working to do, and they will begin to stand alongside of us. And that's what we're seeing happening all over the country. And Chicago is leading the way.
No, I appreciate that. I wouldn't have been so eloquent in terms of how you phrased it. I think too often folks wait until the strong one bears to test the water. And then the further out, not only did you not sink, the water was just right. And then they dived in. That's the way I would conclude the end of that story. Going back to the brother that was in the chokehold as he was handcuffed, we covered that exclusively. But here's the real issue. It is both. Is and or is both. It is the message of the videographer that I will always raise up, because it was a falsehood. The videographer said this. He said, "Hey man, why you got him in a chokehold? I thought you all was here just for the Mexicans." And we covered that exclusively because I think not only did time and history prove otherwise, but humanity has risen to the occasion, and you continue to stand righteously, not only in your seat, but just as a man, as a Black man, unapologetically about your beliefs in terms of pushing for humanity. And for those of us that know something about push, if you knew anything about Reverend, everything he did was to push for humanity, right? So even in this moment, I think the country and the world is being reflective in terms of this crisis in a different way, and you have to lead by compassion. So I thank you for that.
Well, you're welcome. And I want to name even Warren Teen, the young 19-year-old brother who was shopping in Walgreens. He was detained and forced to the ground, and Eleanor McMillan Webster, who was zip-tied in South Shore. These federal agents have been rogue and reckless, and that's why my executive orders and litigation to challenge the Trump administration has been so critical. In fact, Los Angeles and New York, many of these major cities have adopted our executive orders. And, you know, again, the state's attorney adopting our vision to hold these federal agents accountable. The governor of Illinois, you know, taking the step towards challenging these big corporations to pay their fair share in taxes, much like what we did here in Chicago and these big tech companies. Look, Chicago, we're the global capital of the world, and people should not tell us otherwise. Are we perfect? Of course not. Are we moving towards perfection? We absolutely are. And what I need partners that will work with me to help us build the safest, most affordable big city in America. We're going to repopulate this city. We're going to do it on the west and south sides of Chicago with our people, and our people will be able to participate in the recovery and the restoration of our city. So thank you, Cleopatra, for your time and everything that you're doing.
Absolutely. So thank you, Mayor Johnson. I appreciate it. Stop by anytime. And listen, guys, class will resume. We just had to have a special session with the mayor. We'll be back after this break.
When you play the 7-time bingo multiplier instant ticket from the Illinois Lottery, you play with purpose. Over $1.5 million has been raised to help support Illinois Dream Fund Commission scholarships. Purchase one to help raise even more. Be smart, play smart. Must be 18 or older to play. Game odds available at IllinoisLottery.com.
I'm Candace McCollum, and here's what's happening in your local and national news. Democratic House Leader Hakeem Jeffries was a guest on the Rufus Williams Show. Jeffries expressed what Reverend Jesse Jackson means to him and the legacy that Jackson leaves behind.
Well, Reverend Jackson was a profound, legendary, transformational American hero. One of those individuals who, because of his presence and his leadership, his commitment to making life better for the American people, he bent the arc of the moral universe toward justice, inspired millions of people, myself included, with his presidential runs, with his advocacy, his eloquence, and his commitment to building this rainbow coalition, this gorgeous mosaic of people here in America, to make this country the best version of herself.
Services for Jackson begin next week with a Lying in State at the Rainbow Push Coalition on Thursday and Friday. Formal services will also be held in South Carolina and Washington, D.C. on March 1st through the 4th. The People's Celebration takes place March 6th at the House of Hope, with private homegoing services being held the next day at Rainbow Push. In other news, the Cook County State's Attorney's Office is unveiling guidelines for filing charges against federal immigration agents accused of criminal activity. Cook County State's Attorney Eileen O'Neill Burke says under the guidance, law enforcement agencies will lead criminal investigations by collecting and preserving evidence. Prosecutors will then conduct an independent review of all evidence and make charging decisions. Prosecutors must also consider federal immunity, which gives some protection for agents. Johnson's administration called the mayor's order and the state's attorney's protocol aligned facets of the same public safety framework. And the health website WebMD is offering a series of tips for people to follow in order to help keep their elderly parents healthy. Chris Carraggio explains.
Doctors for the site say people should know their parents' normal temperature because some older folks have lower body temperatures than normal. Also, have a good knowledge of the parent's medical history and bring records when bringing them to the doctor. WebMD doctors also say dehydration is a common cause for many disorders in older adults, and the general advice is to drink 8 glasses of water a day. Doctors also recommend getting a reliable blood pressure monitor for frequent blood pressure readings. I'm Chris Carraggio.
I'm Candace McCollum, and that's what's happening in your news now on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Hi, I'm Richard Boykin, and I want to be your next congressman in the 7th Congressional District. I have a sense of urgency. Now is the time to reverse the cuts to Medicaid, Medicare, and SNAP benefits. Now is the time to extend the Obamacare subsidies. Now is the time to close the life expectancy gap and other healthcare disparities. Now is the time to close the wealth disparity. Now is the time to close the achievement gap. Now is the time to protect Social Security for our senior citizens. Now is the time to pass a constitutional amendment recognizing healthcare as a right. Now is the time to make housing more affordable. Now is the time to fight. Punch 39. Richard Boykin for Congress. Paid for and authorized by Richard Boykin for Congress.
The movement for repair is growing, from city halls to parliaments and around the world, from Chicago to Cape Town, from Evanston to the UN. I'm Robin Rusin.
And I'm Cam Howard. Together we're bringing you Reparations Now, where we talk power, policy, and progress, local, national, and international.
It's about justice.
It's about repair. It's about time.
Reparations now, because justice cannot wait.
Reparations Now, Saturdays at 4 p.m. only on WVON 1690. This Black History Month, WVON is coming with a message. Kiss My Black Past. We're partnering with adopted Chicago artist Keith David Connor, the visionary behind Black history illustrations that have inspired Chicago for years. His latest work, The Culture Proud Calendar, connects to WVON's Eracism campaign at a time when Black history and Black identity are under attack. This month, we're not just celebrating the past, we're protecting it and pushing forward. Unapologetically Black, unapologetically proud. This Black History Month, WVON doesn't just honor history, we make it.
It's Gospel with Pam Morris Walton, your gospel sister, on WVON Sundays, 11 to 2 p.m. Music to help you on your journey. I'll see you there, WVON.
It's DL Hughley.
Being a black new Trump supporter is like getting addicted to crack right now. The right is more angry at gay people than pedophiles. Nicki Minaj called Don Lemon a thug. She called him a sucker. You had a husband that is a registered sex offender. And I don't understand why Nicki Minaj would be worried about Don Lemon when it's Chris Hansen she needs to be aware about the dude from Catch a Predator.
Weekdays at 5 a.m. on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Hi, I'm Tavis Smiley, inviting you to join me weekdays from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. right here on WVON. I am bringing you a national perspective on all the happenings in the black community and, of course, politics. It's talk radio for us, by us, and this is where America listens.
It's Tavis Smiley, weekdays from 6 to 9 p.m. on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
This report is brought to you by Blindster.com. Kyle Cox started Blindster in his garage back in 2010. Since then, they've sold millions of custom blinds, shades, and shutters nationwide. Their blinds are DIY friendly, guaranteed to fit, and always cheaper than big box stores. Blindster.com.
And now back to the Cleopatra Show on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Live from the Xfinity Studios at WVON, here's breaking news.
And we are back on the Cleopatra Show. Listen, guys, there has been a ruling straight out of the Supreme Court, a long-awaited ruling. Just moments ago, the Supreme Court ruled that your president, President Donald Trump, does not have the authority to unilaterally impose sweeping tariffs on nearly every country under a federal emergency powers law, delivering a significant blow to the president's signature economic plan. The High Court ruled that the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, or IEEPA, does not have the authority to put a precedent and impose tariffs. Now, every econ major, Wharton School, business school, you name it across the spectrum, both national and international, has declared this tariff tax to be a disaster, a catastrophe that is only transitioned to the working class, the everyday American. And for months on end, Trump has lied through his borrowed teeth, that has told you and tried to force you to believe that what you see with your eyes, that imposed tax, is not what you're paying. And as a result, they have grifted billions from the American people. And he had also said and insinuated in many different ways that we'll see some of that back. Where's your check now? And this ruling is 6-3. So that is significant when it comes to the rule of law. Okay, so I want us to understand what is going on. In fact, I have a receipt saved. I was shopping, doesn't happen too often. I was shopping for myself. And it said RTA, a regional transfer tax. And it was from the Port Authority. So for those companies that are getting shipments from Milan or overseas or wherever they're getting it from, there's a tariff that is attached to that. Companies have now broken down and included you in carrying the weight. So it transfers to the business transferred to the consumer, and the rest is history. So tariffing, you heard Trump say he's going to tariff countries 150%. He doesn't even know what percents really mean, which is really sad. He was tariffing islands that only had penguins and different animals and no people on it. It was just the stupidest thing ever. But more importantly, the impact that he's caused the economy here for the working class. I need for us to understand what that means. The working people that were already a part of driving the economy, he transferred another burden onto you. Lawrence O'Donnell does a wonderful monologue and an expose in regards to the tariffs, and for months has explained that Donald Trump is a liar when it comes to what tariffs mean, and has on a multitude of experts to explain this. But if nothing else, in layman terms, tariffs simply mean, for what he put in his policy, the buck was passed on to us. As though it's not already hard enough at the grocery store. And where I live, we don't have a grocery store. So it's already hard enough when I go to other people's communities for their grocery store. That hurts me to say. It's already hard enough when you have to clothe your children. The tax on tax on tax on tax, but then you don't want to tax those that got it. You don't want to tax the ultra rich. So for those that are in leadership, elected officials that refuse to tax the ultra rich, refuse to support you. These oligarchs at the top, they're not alone. They in a lane of their own, but we have those that live amongst us right here in Illinois that got it. So why would you thump over the head the working class people that in turn are already willing to drive the economy, but not drown in it? So this is huge. For the first time, the chief justices, 6 of them, are willing to stand against the Trump regime. This is huge. Now, the question begs, where have they been? They've been where they've been. But right now, when you look at their beliefs, it is a conservative judgeship, overwhelmingly, that agrees and stands in solidarity with this regime. But when we start talking dollars and cents, they answer to a higher calling. So we are going to have a special guest on. I definitely want to hear from you regarding this breaking news. This is huge because there are so many more rulings to come out. And if it were not for the judicial system, so for those of us that do not take serious these judges that we're putting on the benches, these judges that we're sending to appellate and federal court, Trump is. But if it were not for some of them, where would we be? So this is huge. I see you all in the chat as well. Rufus says, Trump is a liar. Brother Wall, a 6-3 decision by Supreme Court. The court gives no clarity on refunds. See, that's the thing. Many of us, Trump owe us money. Like for real, like I'm saying Trump, but the regime, the administration, there will be class action lawsuits out the wazoo. I think my sons will be grown men with children by the time America's done paying up all of the damage of the Trump administration. Let's talk to Jerry. Jerry, welcome to WVON.
Good morning and welcome. I saw that as I was calling into the station. It's really good. I'm an attorney. I have not read the ruling, but knew early on he didn't have the authority under the Emergency Act that he was to do this. And really, it's only Congress has that authority, but they just, the Republicans just bent to his will. Trump's really not that smart. Okay, someone was advising him on this whole idea. He didn't know the difference between microeconomics and macroeconomics, all these failed businesses. So if this country is going to keep its democracy, all three branches of government have to do their job. And I'm pleasantly surprised that the court really did this. I really am. I can't say it again and again. I did want to mention this. I know you had the mayor on, but I was talking about crime, and it's great. It's going down, and thank him and support him and all the work that he does. There was a TV show about a lady by the name of Regina Jones, and so forth. I was channel surfing. Her and her husband back in the day did this magazine called Soul. Some people may remember it. Make a long story short, she had 5 kids. Got married at 15. Her oldest son tested 166 IQ. Okay, genius day, but they was in a mixed school, and the whites didn't like it. They tested him again, and he tested even higher. And my boy, that affected him. He wound up getting hooked on drugs and died, way before his time. And we look at what's going on in Chicago. How many of our young, everybody, even Latino, all our brothers, particularly our Black brothers and sisters that have high IQs, that potential is not being realized because of the disinvestment in us. It's really a shame. We lose a lot of potential. We lose a tremendous amount. So the mayor's approach is right in terms of investing in the success of the communities. That's what I wanted to say, and thank you.
Oh, absolutely. And I believe you're spot on. Again, Mayor Johnson has gifted our children more than $500 million. So to his point, overwhelmingly more than 30,000 plus jobs for our youth, not to mention it. Sometimes, he got a long memory, but to add to it, he's extended a pipeline. See, this is where my career and technical education side come in. For those that are just saying, hey, mama, I just want to work. Oh, no doubt. You're not going to just work. You're going to get a pension. You're going to get some benefits. You're going to go work for the city. There's a pipeline straight to do that as well. And that is our saving grace. Think about it. When we come back, Judge Wendell Griffin is on the live line to talk to us about this explosive ruling straight out of the Supreme Court. You don't want to miss this.
More from Cleopatra coming up next on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Tuned in to your favorite WVON personalities on Facebook Live? Don't just watch, like it, love it, share it. Every click helps us grow the conversation and keep the community strong. So remember, like it, love it, share it, Chicago.
Health for moms, care for children, and wellness for families. That's PCC Community Wellness Center, right here in your neighborhood. We walk alongside you through every stage of life, from prenatal care, midwifery, and doula support, to family medicine, dental care, specialty services, parenting guidance, and even nurse home visits. Because your care should feel personal, supportive, and close to home. PCC Community Wellness Center, because strong families build healthy communities. Schedule your appointment today at pccwellness.org or call 708-383-0113. Funding provided in whole or in part by the Illinois Department of Human Services.
There's no championship league for small business owners, but if there was, you'd be at the top of the standings. Because going pro with Lenovo Pro means you've got the winning formation, one-on-one advice, IT solutions, and customized hardware powered by Intel Core Ultra processors help you stay ahead of the competition. Business goes pro with Lenovo Pro. Sign up for free at lenovo.com/pro.
Lenovo. Why'd I go to the doctor? Working on the farm, my heart kept skipping a beat. I didn't think much of it, but my daughters made me get checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Maria Pappas with Black Houses Matter.
We're up to $385,632,000. This is 208,000 African Americans that this little WVON station has delivered $385 million to. I mean, this is newsworthy.
Cook County Treasurer Maria Pappas with Black Houses Matter, Monday mornings at 11:30 a.m. on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
WVON traffic and weather now.
Chicago, good morning. Happy Friday. TGIF. It is February 20th. Our update on the roads begins on the Edens, Lake Cook to Montrose. You're looking at a 22-minute ride. Kennedy, O'Hare to downtown right now, 25 minutes. The Stevenson Tri-State to DuSable, Lakeshore Drive, clocking in at a 28-minute trip. I-57, I-80 to the Ryan, 19 minutes. Your weather for today, very windy conditions, Chicago. Mostly cloudy, a high of 37. I'm Candace McCollum with an update on the roads on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And now back to the Cleopatra Show on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And we are back on the Cleopatra Show. The time is 9:53, and we are discussing this explosive ruling straight out of the Supreme Court, 6-3, strikes down Trump's tariffs. On the live line with me is Judge Wendell Griffin. Welcome back to the Cleopatra Show.
Sister Cleopatra, good morning to you. How are you?
I'm in better spirits. I had my mayor on this morning, and I am looking at a reality check, a chin check, if you will, that is long overdue. So where's my refund check?
Oh, now that is the big problem, isn't it?
I mean, it's a conundrum.
The fact of the matter is that this decision knocks out the whole global tariffs because the Supreme Court says they are illegal. They should never have happened. However, giant corporations have lawyers and lobbyists, and they're going to sue for tariff refunds. But individuals, mom and pop stores, persons in households, people who have small businesses cannot do that. And therefore, the question is, how are the people who have to pay higher prices on everything from groceries, meat, eggs, detergent, to housing, to cars and everything else, going to get any of the money back that that was stolen from them? Let's be clear, was stolen from them by the Trump administration based on this illegal tariff. That's the big conundrum. But I'm so glad the Supreme Court decided 6-3 that this thing was wrong, should have been never done. But the good thing is it's finally knocked out.
And here's the deal. I think we are at a very pitiful point in America when we have to jump for joy that the Supreme Court has saved us, even though they put us in this position when they kicked up the can and gave this grifter immunity. So now he feels embodied to do as he pleased, not only with us in America, but to the world. This impacted the world.
It did impact the world. The fact of the matter is, not only the people in the United States, but as you say, Sister Cleopatra, all over the world, folks were having to make changes. And here is the next step. I got to put my lawyer hat on. If the man didn't have authority to do what he did, and he didn't have it, 6-3, okay? And he did it, and then he lied about why he did it, because he said it was for going to raise revenue, but his lawyer said it wasn't about raising revenue. Then why isn't stealing billions of dollars from American people a giant theft, grand larceny of the highest court, of the highest kind, so as to be characterized a high crime or a misdemeanor for impeachment purposes? Why can't you impeach a grand thief on this level? Because if you and I stole this kind of stuff, we'd be in somebody's dock, wouldn't we?
Oh yeah, you it'll be done. It will be,
Now,
as the word would say, it will be finished.
But as you just said, they gave him absolute immunity. Even though John Roberts wrote in his opinion, there is no justification in the American Constitution for what he did. So he basically got a get out of jail free card 2 years ago. And the same people who gave him 2 years ago get out of free card say today, hey, you are a high crook, but you still don't have to do anything because we said you got absolute immunity. This is the conundrum we're in. I'm glad the Supreme Court ruled what it did. I am glad, don't get me wrong. But I am asking this question. For the millions of people who have had to pay out of their households higher prices because of the wrong stuff, the illegal stuff that this man did, there is no clear relief. I don't know how we're going to get a penny back.
So let me ask you this, Judge, because in the chat, and the phone lines are yours, 773-591-1690. Where's our $2,000 check? You remember Trump said that it's so much tariff money coming in, he's going to issue $2,000 to every American.
You're going to find a bridge built over a place called nowhere before you get that check.
You know, that's not funny, Judge.
Like, no, it's not funny.
I'm laughing because I don't know what else to do because this is insane.
No, it is infuriating, Sister Cleopatra. It is infuriating. We have people who are worrying about how they're going to pay their rent. All right, you know this.
I do.
How they're going to pay for their children's clothes, how they're going to pay for the medication, how they're going to take care of the seniors. And this man has raised these prices on people because he wanted to say so. The money has come into the federal treasury. He's gotten all kinds of deals for himself and his family. And now that the Supreme Court has said this has no justification in the Constitution at all, none of us get the money back. Now, let me say one other thing. If you're a big corporation, if you're a big billionaire corporation, they're going to do some deals, aren't they?
Yes, they're going to get theirs back.
And they're going to get tariff refunds.
Yes.
And they're going to pocket the money because they're not going to turn around and say, okay, we got a refund from the federal government for the high price we charge you for washing detergent. So everybody who bought dishwashing detergent or clothes detergent and paid higher prices, we cutting you a check. That will not happen. And that's aggravating to me.
No, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate, which is why I spoke to these class action lawsuits until the end of time, thanks to Trump.
And the reason why we need to ask ourselves another question. What about the people who said this man is going to make us great again?
Well, Judge, I am with you, but I'm at a heartbreak. Listen, guys, it has been a blast talking to Judge Wendell Griffin. He's retired judge over in Arkansas 6th Judicial Circuit Court Division, and he's a pastor, social justice advocate, and author. I appreciate everything you do, Judge, and I thank you for your opinion. It really matters to us here, so thank you. Listen, guys, we'll be back after this break. Michael, Al, and the live line. I see you all. It is yours when we return.
I'm Candace McCollum, and here are your news headlines. Mayor Brandon Johnson joins the Cleopatra Show. Governor Pritzker says he is very disappointed in Bears' response to Indiana lawmakers advancing stadium bill. And dietitians emphasize importance of eating breakfast. We will have details on these stories and much more headed your way. National news from the Black Information Network is up next on Chicago's only urban talk radio station, WVON, 1690 AM, Berwyn, Chicago.
Watch BIN News Now.
An unnamed suspect is in police custody for allegedly killing 3 people in a Southwest Detroit home. Joel Bond was friends for years with 66-year-old Norman Hamlin, one of the victims, who was a former U.S. Marine who had been reportedly missing this week.
Seem to have set up a safe environment for people to come over and use. And of course, as we know, that's dangerous. You don't know who's coming into your house.
The bodies of Hamlin, 72-year-old William Barrett, and 65-year-old Mark Barnett were found in the basement of a home on Edsel Street. Cases of respiratory illnesses are spiking at urgent care clinics across the New Orleans area after carnival season. Doctors are reporting 4 viruses circulating at the same time. Patients are testing positive for flu A, flu B, RSV, and COVID-19, resulting in what physicians are calling a quademic. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app. Now back to you, Terry.
The Trump administration is expanding the authority of immigration officers as part of the president's crackdown on migrants. Minnesota and Illinois are suing the administration over ongoing immigration enforcement.
And we ask that the courts will end the surge of thousands of DHS agents into Minnesota.
Minnesota's Black Attorney General Keith Ellison. ICE officers have been granted broader powers to detain legal refugees awaiting a green card to ensure they are re-vetted. Black House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries is calling for major reforms.
Taxpayer dollars should be used to make life more affordable for the American people, not brutalize or kill them, as we horrifically saw in Minneapolis.
According to a DHS memo, refugees must return to government custody for inspection and examination a year after their admission into the country. The new policy marks a shift from a 2010 memorandum stating that failure to obtain lawful permanent resident status was not a basis for removal from the country and not a proper basis for detention. Maryland's former Republican Governor Larry Hogan said local police will ignore a new law signed by the state's Black Governor Wes Moore that prevents them from working with immigration and customs enforcement. Hogan said during a governor's summit on Politico that local law enforcement officers feel a requirement to work with ICE. Hogan's comments follow Moore's decision to ban agreements allowing ICE to deputize local law enforcement officers to carry out immigration enforcement. Moore has pledged to continue coordinating on shared public safety and the lawful removal of non-citizen offenders who pose a risk to the public. The Trump administration is restoring an exhibit on slavery at a historic site in Philadelphia. This after a federal judge said the administration had until today to reinstate the exhibit at Independence National Historical Park. The exhibit details the lives of slaves owned by George Washington and his family. It was removed last month, and the city of Philadelphia sued for it to be restored, arguing the removal violated an agreement between the city and the National Park Service. The International Monetary Fund has approved over $90 million in funding for Niger. It includes support for climate resilience and sustainable development. The IMF says Niger's economic growth is expected to remain strong at 6.7% this year. Funding for the country's military-led government comes at the same time as recent political changes and a move to distance itself from traditional Western military alliances. Since the 2023 coup that saw General Abdourahmane Tiani's rise to power, Niger has focused on greater economic sovereignty. The funding rollout is happening at a critical time as the government seeks to stabilize the economy and reinforce public finances. Stay informed, stay connected, and subscribe. Follow VIN News this hour wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Terry McCready for the Black Information Network.
Life is busy, so getting your mammogram should be simple. At U Chicago Medicine Ingalls Memorial, we've designed the entire experience around you. Fast appointments, expert care, and now same-day scheduling at locations close to home. Don't put it off. Check it off your list. Call 708-915-6266 or visit uchicago.org/mammogram to schedule a same-day mammogram.
When you play the 7-time bingo multiplier instant ticket from the Illinois Lottery, you play with purpose. Over $1.5 million has been raised to help support Illinois Dream Fund Commission scholarships. Purchase one to help raise even more. Be smart, play smart. Must be 18 or older to play. Game odds available at IllinoisLottery.com.
You still thinking job change in the new year?
Yeah, I need something that's in high demand and more stable in this economy.
IT?
Yeah, cybersecurity, maybe even AI.
That's what I did.
Really? How?
Went to My Computer Career. You don't need any prior experience, and you could start your new career in a matter of months. A lot of IT pros go to school there, too, to level up.
Sweet. Are classes online or on campus?
Both.
Wow, I'll check it out. Thanks.
Make this your year. Take the free career evaluation now at mycomputercareer.edu, an Elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed? Because no two people sleep the same. Only the Sleep Number smart bed lets you each choose your individual firmness and comfort, your Sleep Number setting. The Climate 360 smart bed is so smart, it actively cools or warms up to 13 degrees on either side for your ideal sleep temperature. And now, during our President's Day sale, save 50% on the Sleep Number limited edition smart bed, plus free home delivery when you add any base. Ends Monday. To find a store near you, visit sleepnumber.com.
This is your host and life coach, Linnell Harris, and I want you to join me every Sunday morning from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. for Inspirational Perspective. On Inspirational Perspective, we talk life vision, life purpose, and the show is all about helping you live the best life possible. So join me as we look at supporting you in living the life you intend to live and making your life's vision a reality. Every Sunday morning at 7 a.m. on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 a.m. WVON.
This report is brought to you by Aleve. Life doesn't wait, and neither should you. Aleve can help you deal with pain less throughout the day. With just one pill, Aleve lasts up to 12 hours. Don't let those aches and pains hold you back from doing what's important to you. Use as directed.
1690 WVON remembers the Reverend Jesse Lewis Jackson Sr.
Black, beautiful, proud. I must be respected. I must be protected.
You were a beacon of light, not only for Chicago, but for the nation. From our family to yours. Rest in peace, Reverend Jackson. Job well done.
Live from the Xfinity Studios at WVON, it's the Cleopatra Show on Chicago's essential storyteller, 1690 WVON.
And we are back on the Cleopatra Show. The time is 10:09, and we've had a fiery morning. So we will resume with our daily clip, because I got a good one. Oh, I had a good one. But, you know, what's better than my mayor? I don't know. You tell me, right? The 57th mayor of the greatest freaking city right here in the city of Chicago opened up the show with me. And then we scooted onward to some breaking news. You know, this Supreme Court ruling from SCOTUS is real, but they really owe us some checks, chin checks, refund checks, reality checks. Where my money at kind of check. You know, you up here playing the grifter and commander in sleep, you know, sitting in his first inaugural peace meeting, knocked out. The fact that we don't have time to play and roll a clip all over every news station in America watching him sleep. You know why? Because people can't eat. This is not a game. This is real. And he really stole money from the world, not just robbing us blind. Everybody. I need all my checks. 773-591-1690. I'm going straight to the phone line. You could talk to me about Mayor Brandon Johnson. You could talk to me about the 6-3 ruling. Either way, the phone lines are lit today. Let's talk to Michael O'Connor. Welcome to WVON.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
I am very glad that the previous caller was on and that both of you have made quite plain what this man has done. He knew that when he announced it, that he was doing wrong. Article 1, Section 8 the first paragraph clearly states that he was wrong. So you're right. We should be asking for where our refund is. But I'm from the school of belief of, look, you got a 4-person difference in the Congress. You mean to tell me none of the congressional people, the Republicans, didn't know this when it's clearly in Article 8? I'm sorry, for Article 1, Section 8. We need to be taking out every Republican for not speaking up. Hakeem Jeffries and the Democrats have consistently spoke up and been almost ignored by the major media. And I just think that this is a moment for us to remember when we go to the ballot box. We need to take out every Republican. I know that this is WVON, and WVON is the voice of the nation, literally, for Black folks. And we have Black folks in southern states that are the difference between who goes in Congress and who is president. Vance, the vice president, knew this was wrong. He used to be a member of Congress. We need to punish these people.
And what kind of punishment, Michael? What kind of punishment for all of the conspirators against American citizens? Because it is levels to the conspiracy.
We have several ways. First of all, we need to get up, speak up, get involved with these protests. I have my bullhorn, and I've had it for almost 40 years, and I use it. Now, I know everybody's not going to get out here and protest, but we need to talk to our family members. We need to talk. Just read the Constitution for yourself. This man, you're right. He knew he blatantly was stealing. That's what he was doing. He was stealing from us as Americans because, well, I've talked about the problem.
Thank you, Michael. Yes, you did. Thank you.
To answer your question, we need to be active with our legislators, and we need to organize to throw out every Republican, because it was the Republicans who basically stood by and was silent.
Thank you so
That's
much.
My comment.
No,
Thank
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Let's talk to Al. Al, welcome to WVON.
Hey, Miss Cleopatra.
Hey,
now, I want to kind of put something into perspective here. This is a setback to this administration, but essentially they're saying that Trump checked the wrong box. The International Emergency Economic Powers Act. There's 6 other ways that he's going to try to enforce these tariffs, and he's not giving any of this money back. This money is going to be used to help us try to crush the commies and the Chinese in this country.
Is that what you believe?
And we don't care who has to go into poverty to get this.
Wait.
Or die trying.
Al, let me ask you, do you believe he's going to use the money to help people or to help himself?
We're trying to fight an international war.
No, I asked you a question. Do you believe that he's going to use the money to fight an international war? Is that what you believe?
We're using the money to fight an international war.
So I'm saying the money, wait, Al. Wait. Calm down.
We can attack Iran in 5 days.
Wait, I hear what you're saying, Al, and I love your spirit, but I want you to hear my question. The money that was extrapolated, stolen from the world, Americans, and through the tariffs, do you believe that that budget line will be used to fight an international war? That is the question.
First of all, there was
it's
no
a yes or
money
no
stolen.
No, but okay,
stolen.
So the money that was taken via tariffs, do you believe it will be utilized for international warfare?
It will be utilized for international warfare.
And I want to respond to you. If there is any money seized in any way Under the Trump regime via Donald Trump, it will not be used to help anybody but Donald Trump. That is that. And that is, but that's why it's called the Cleopatra Show. But listen, that's why it's called the Cleopatra. I'm going to give my opinion. I just wanted some clarity on your opinion because you believe that there is some righteous spirit that Donald Trump is going to take money that he has stolen via tariffs that they declared to be illegal to help international warfare. That is foolish.
If you want to frame it that way,
that is exactly what you just said. Well, the Supreme Court has ruled it's illegal,
no money coming
but
back.
the Supreme Court has ruled it's illegal, so therefore it was taken. It was taken illegally.
Check the wrong box.
Oh, is that what it is? Thanks for making white ice a little bit more colder, Al. Thank you so much. Listen, if you're gonna apologize for this grifter and commander-in-chief, today's not the day. Call on another show. Because he don't no white man in America need no black man to apologize for him. Oh, he must have checked the wrong box. No, master didn't. He meant what he did, and he got caught red-handed, orange-handed, white-handed, whatever hand he want to use that ain't bruised and got makeup on it. I said what I said because now the Supreme Court is ruling against him. A dissension is just that. It means we disagree. And if it is declared illegally, then you're going to go and say, well, boss, here's another 5 other ways to steal from them. Make it make sense on the Cleopatra Show. We'll be back after this break.
More from Cleopatra coming up next on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Hey everybody, it's your boy Maticus, the Black Spartan Show. It's the Black Talk Check-In every day from 12 to 3 on your favorite radio station, WVON. We are speaking black power to black people every single day. Facebook Live, join us. The conversation is blasting there. Share it with everybody you know. This talk needs to be heard all around the world because it's the Black Power Station, 1690 AM, WVON.
This is Congressman Danny Davis. For decades, the Cook County Assessor's Office was plagued by corruption. That's all changed with Fritz Kagi. Fritz Kagi brought real transparency to the Assessor's Office, and he's made it easier and more affordable for the people who need it most. Seniors, veterans, and people with disabilities. Under Fritz, hundreds of thousands of residents have seen lower tax bills. And for many others, he's kept increases down by making sure wealthy commercial property owners finally pay their fair share. This is what reform looks like. Honest, accountable, and on the side of working people. I'm Danny Davis. Join me to support Democrat Fritz Kagi for Cook County Assessor. Primary day is Tuesday, March 17th.
Paid for by Friends for Fritz. Hi, I'm Richard Boykin, and I want to be your next congressman in the 7th Congressional District. I have a record of standing up to bullies like Donald Trump. I will lower costs for working families and seniors, create more jobs, and make our streets safer. As a Cook County Commissioner, I'm proud to have helped expand healthcare coverage. I sponsored the bill to eliminate the tax on feminine hygiene products. You can count on me to fight to keep the cost of healthcare down by restoring the cuts to Medicaid, Medicare, and SNAP. Now is the time. Punch 39. Richard Boykin. Paid for and authorized by Richard Boykin for Congress.
There's no championship league for small business owners, but if there was, you'd be at the top of the standings. Because going pro with Lenovo Pro means you've got the winning formation, one-on-one advice, IT solutions, and customized hardware powered by Intel Core Ultra processors help you stay ahead of the competition. Business goes pro with Lenovo Pro. Sign up for free at lenovo.com/pro.
Lenovo.
Why'd I go to the doctor? Working on the farm, my heart kept skipping a beat. I didn't think much of it, but my daughters made me get checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Hey everybody, this is Kendall Moore, The Kendall Moore Show, getting you from your work week to your weekend each and every Friday night from 6 until 9 p.m. I get you from your work week to your weekend. Church Tabernacle.
Kendall Moore, radio for the next generation on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 AM, WVON. And now back to the Cleopatra Show on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And we are back. You're listening to the Cleopatra Show. You almost thought it was Fired Up Wednesday, but it's Funny Clip Friday. I ain't laughed yet, so I'm going to make sure we bring some clips in, but digesting that before I bring up Brother Tommy. Listen, guys, this is real. This is truly, truly real. And I want us to really accept that 6-3 ruling. When I say stolen, it is now defended by the highest court in the land that they liken to agree. But when you say, well, oh, he must have checked the wrong box. My God. Trump got diapers older than me. Stop playing with me. This man is somebody's great-grandfather. He is the oldest living president. He don't need nobody to apologize for his behavior. Okay? Just like I said what I said and I meant it. That man been a man a long time. And I am so done with people apologizing for his abuse and disgrace and shame. Shame. I'm going to take Tommy's call. Tommy, talk to me. Welcome to WVON.
First of all, good morning to you, Ms. Draper. I call you Ms. Draper out of the utmost of respect, but I am telling you, did I not tell you that our situation was going to be win or lose? You're going to be dealing with election deniers. What are you going to do about them? So anybody right now running around boasting and stuff, this stuff with Mr. Jeffries, sitting up talking about we're going to start impeachment proceedings when it is clearly known that it will have to be the Senate to approve it. I mean, this is a moment in time for clear, concise information in which this radio station has pumped out forever. And so I don't see why we're wasting time with people like Al. These people are haters. What is wrong with you people? Does a person literally have to come up to you that looks exactly like you and pull out a weapon and shoot you? Is that what they have to do?
Yes.
Because this is where we're at. Well, we're listening. Watch this, Miss Cleo, as I close. This is not a moment of fear. This is not a moment of violence. This is a moment of watch this. If you don't feel a loss at the loss of Reverend Jackson, Minister, the Honorable Elijah, you can hear the emotion. I'm ready to do what needs to be done. Ain't no more talking. It comes to a point there is nothing else to talk about. You be still. Listen to what they say. Watch what they do. And if by now you don't know that it's dollars and cents, you just a damn fool. Goodbye.
And last but not least, let's raise up Brother Chris. Brother Chris, talk to me. Welcome to WVON.
Good morning, my good sister. Happy Friday. Of course, condolences to the Jackson family, Reverend Jackson. And shout out to the WVON family. So if the president forgets to launch the nuclear code that he picked the wrong box, these are the same people that's going around here defending this man with his pedophile tendency. So your homeboy Epstein, one of your best friends for 15, 20 years, and you don't know what they're doing. That's like you being around your friend who's an alcoholic, and you say, "Oh, I didn't know he drank." They're defending that, and this is just the beginning of those illegal strikes. This is just the beginning. They're not releasing job data. This is just the beginning no 90 deals in 90 days, inflation, gas, food. You can't even buy food. You gotta imagine you have food. That's how bad things are. The job market, our place in the world, and people continue to make excuses for this pedal debt. And you hear the moral stance, oh, the Democrats for abortion, the Democrats for same sex and all that. What about and I don't care who is on the list, slam them all, but they make excuses for him day in, day out. If there's smoke, there is fire. Thank you, Cleopatra.
Absolutely. Where there is smoke, there is fire. But we got some fire coming straight out of hot Atlanta. Donell Suggs is going to join me. He's going to hang out with us until 11 o'clock. Donell, my brother, come on with me. Welcome to the Cleopatra Show.
Sister, thank you for having me on. You know I love it here, so I appreciate y'all.
Absolutely, because I was on fire. Everybody trying to calm me down. I'm getting like 1,000 texts. Listen, we got some lost cousins, and when it's time to lay in, we lay in, and when it's time to build up, we build up. But I just needed clarity in this moment as to whose side you on, reality or pseudo reality. Now, talk to me. How is Hot Atlanta doing?
Wanted to let you know directly that your sister, Cecil Lance Violence, has been attending all the forums and actually has been doing well. I actually covered a forum last night. So when we do get into that, I'll let you know your people is doing okay. They're doing all right.
I appreciate that because I sure needed an update. And listen, we have been mourning the loss of and life, but we've been celebrating his life and recognizing that we didn't lose a giant. We just uplifted him spiritually in a wonderful way. To Reverend Jesse Lewis Jackson Sr. And I know from Hot Atlanta, he's spent, if not equal time, an amount of his life has been back and forth to Atlanta. So talk to us about your sentiments.
Well, again, we lost an American hero, and I want people, American heroes aren't all revolutionary white people from back in the day or all the white people that they prop up. Sometimes it's black men like Jesse Jackson who fought for the everyday person, the poor person, the black person, the white person. He fought for everybody. And he did a lot of that work here in Atlanta. Obviously not as much as Chicago, but in Atlanta. We actually have a story on the front page of our paper this week is commemorating all the coverage we did of him. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful piece. Y'all want to see it? TheAtlantaVoice.com. And he had a campaign office in 84, a small, tiny little office in the Atlanta Voice building. Basically, whenever he was in town, he could pop in and do his work. So we played a part in that first campaign. And I'm very proud to say I'm the editor-in-chief of the newspaper that did that, 40 plus years ago.
Isn't that something?
Yeah, man. History all over.
When I am in the Push building and they talk about the campaigns, they turn to me and then I just smile and they be like, oh, you wasn't even born. And I just smile and listen. 88, I was here technically, but I don't know what was going on. So when we come back, Donell and I are going to talk about something. It is Funny Clip Fridays. And if you haven't seen this campaign, it is two white men drinking on a white substance. Use your imagination. And they trying to sell this back to America. Sell it back. Some of us have rebuked it, and we're going to talk about it. But two white men drinking white substance. Now, some of y'all like the way that sounds because white ice is colder. We'll be back after this break.
I'm Candace McCollum, and here's what's happening in your local and national news. Mayor Brandon Johnson joined the Cleopatra Show to reflect on how Reverend Jesse Jackson taught him how to lead and organize.
As we mourn the loss of our dear brother, he was a mentor, a friend to so many people. He looked and saw somebody in everybody. And he challenged me when we were on a trip together to Selma. And he talked about how important it is that in organizing, all of us have to do our part. But he also talked about how difficult that is for people who are living in disparate, circumstances. And when you're organizing and try to pull the best out of people and they're suffering and living through very harsh conditions, it can be discouraging. And what he said to me was, that now that history has proven us to be right, everybody in Nuamah claims to have been on the Edmund Pettus Bridge. And that wasn't the case, right? It was a handful of people that continued to organize and push.
Services for Jackson begin next week with the Lying in State at the Rainbow Push Coalition on Thursday and Friday. Formal services will also be held in South Carolina and in Washington, D.C. on March 1st through the 4th. The People's Celebration takes place March 6th at the House of Hope, with private homegoing services being held the next day at Rainbow Push. In other news, Governor Pritzker is very disappointed in the Bears for their response to Indiana's efforts to lure the team out of Illinois.
I have to say it's very disappointing to hear that they would put that statement out but not say anything about the advancement that's been made in the state of Illinois. But we're waiting to hear from the Bears what they'd like to do next.
After Indiana lawmakers advanced legislation that would help the team build a stadium in Hammond, Indiana yesterday, the team released a statement calling the bill's passage the most meaningful step forward in their stadium planning efforts to date. Pritzker said that it came to a surprise to him, considering his office had very positive discussions with the Bears on Wednesday and mostly agreed on a bill that would move forward. Pritzker also reiterated that the state of Illinois isn't going to build the Bears a new stadium with taxpayer dollars. And a registered dietitian is emphasizing the importance of eating breakfast. Michael Kastner has more.
Dr. Teresa Uri with the Cleveland Clinic says folks should eat within 2 hours of waking up, or else it may be hard to concentrate, and it could lead to overeating later in the day. Uri recommends eating a breakfast that includes protein, fiber, and heart-healthy fats. Yeah, she advises limiting sugary cereals and pastries as the first meal of the day. I'm Michael Kastner.
I'm Candace McCollum, and that's what's happening in your news now on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Communication and community are critical. That's why WVON is partnering with the Chicago Community Trust, a philanthropic organization to help local nonprofits respond effectively during crisis moments. We'll be providing practical communication strategies to help organizations navigate challenges, protect trust, and continue serving our neighborhoods with clarity and purpose. To learn more about Meeting the Moment, visit WVON.com/Meeting the Moment. Strong communication isn't just helpful, it's essential. Make sure your message is heard when it matters most. Meeting the Moment is powered by the Chicago Community Trust.
Hi, I'm LaShawn K. Ford, and I'm running for Congress because I see what's happening in our communities every day. I see young people struggling to find opportunity. I see seniors working harder just to make ends meet. And I see families feeling squeezed by rising costs while Washington stays distracted. This Trump administration has brought chaos and corruption instead of real solutions. We need leadership that listens and delivers. As a state legislator, I spent years fighting for working families, seniors, and communities that too often get left behind. That record is why I'm endorsed by Congressman Danny K. Davis, former U.S. Senator Roland Burst, former Congressman Bobby Rush, former Secretary of State Jesse White, and the Speaker of the Illinois House, Chris Welch. Make your plan to vote, and on your ballot, punch 31, paid for by LaShawn K. Ford for Congress.
It's Rufus Williams.
This is not the America that we thought it was. Certainly not now. And whatever pushing has to go to reverse that, I'm sure that Keith Ellison and the others there in Minneapolis are doing it, because anything that's happening anywhere can happen right here to us. And there's no reason to believe in any way, shape, or form that you can be separated from it.
Weekdays at 7 a.m. on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Your heart and your brain are connected, and when one's at risk, so is the other. This Saturday on the Community Health Focus Hour, medical professionals and guests with lived experiences who know how a stroke can instantly change a life, we'll join host Cedric McCoy to discuss the heart and brain connection, protecting against stroke together. Get the knowledge, warning signs, and prevention tools that could make all the difference. Listen this Saturday on WVON and Facebook Live. The Community Health Focus Hour, Saturdays at 1 p.m., powered by the Urban Health Initiative of U Chicago Medicine, at the forefront.
This report is brought to you by ComEd, powering lives. Here's a great savings idea. Did you know you've got the power to manage your energy? Yep, from usage alerts to energy savings programs and more. ComEd has all kinds of ideas to help you gain control over your energy cost. Find out more at ComEd.com/energy savings.
WVON traffic and weather now.
Chicago, good morning and happy Friday. It is February 20th. I hope all is well. Our update on the roads begins on the Edens, Lake Cook to Montrose, a 22-minute ride. Right now on the Kennedy O'Hare to downtown, 25 minutes. The Stevenson Tri-State to DuSable, Lakeshore Drive, 26 minutes. The Bishop Ford 8094 to the Ryan right now, a 19-minute trip. Your weather for today, a high of 37, mostly cloudy and very windy. I'm Candace McCollum with an update on the roads on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And now back to the Cleopatra Show on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And we are back on the Cleopatra Show. And listen, guys, it is Funny Clip Fridays, and we're about to get a little funny. Down from hot Atlanta is hanging out with me is Donell Suggs of the Atlanta Voice. And Donell, I gave a prelude to this. Now, on the StreamYard, for folk that are tuned in, you will see two white men drinking a white substance. It is an ad, an advertisement, if you will, that is spewing across social media. The two white men are, drumline please, RFK Jr. and Kid Rock. You almost thought that was Hillbilly of America, but no, through that thick mustache, I look real close. It is Kid Rock himself, and it is some type of workout video. Donell, have you seen this video?
Unfortunately, I have. I have to stay attuned to social media, and I wish I hadn't.
What was your thoughts on the video?
As weird and crazy as I expected. You do know one of these men is the Secretary of Health for the United States of America. Just so you know. So this is where we're going now. These are the people that we're hiring for some of the most important jobs in the country. Just a heads up.
I mean, you know, I had the privilege last night to be the hostess, the MC for our Mayor Brandon Johnson's Black History Month celebration. And I had to go real Baptist real quick and teach a lesson in terms of, you know, did earn it. And there are so many iterations of DEI. They thought it was just diversity, equity, and inclusion. And then when it came to us, I had to remind and give an affirmation lesson that you did earn it. But then there are others down now that definitely did not earn it. They just didn't earn it, brother.
No.
And these are the people that are being elevated, which epitomizes their attack on DEI. It just is full circle. It is hilarious. So, when I saw it, I saw the images and lost my mind, but I just took and stole a minute of my life watching the video. And here's what I could not take serious. Here's the reality. Next to this old man is Kid Rock, and the old man put Kid Rock to shame. But the shame is the Secretary of Health is publicly saying I've snorted coke off toilet seats, and I'm still here. What is a germ?
But and simultaneously, that is a privilege that a lot of people try to pretend that we're past in this country. This person is telling you, and not that we all haven't done something wrong, I've not done that, that I've sort of, he literally said it. You didn't hear him say it. You didn't eavesdrop. He's telling you I snorted cocaine over a toilet seat. And yet here I am in a powerful position. See that? You see America? And America's looking at you like, no, I couldn't even get a job if I failed a drug test. And this guy is supposed to be the one that's supposed to tell you what's healthy and what's not.
I mean, the message it sends is that you can fill up and hold the highest office in the land if you use white. No,
right.
if you use
they
white.
Can fail up. Right.
Use
they
white.
Can fail up.
Now,
they can fail up.
Now let's talk about this white substance because everybody done got their mind out the gutter. It is cow titty milk. That's the best way. Sonya, my super producer, about hit the floor. I said, why is these grown men drinking titty milk from a cow? I thought we were past this. At one point when you know better, you have to do better. And as a nursing mom, I'm gonna say it politically correct now. As a nursing mom, all my children were Black America is welcome. Black women especially. I exclusively fed my children, breast milk. But when I'm watching these grown men toast each other with cow titty milk, what is up? What is the smoke and mirrors behind bringing cow milk back? If the artist can bring sexy back, I guess the hillbilly can bring whole milk back.
When they say they want to make America great again, a lot of times, I mean, they mean that they want to make America white again. They're taking it even further back. Forget pasteurizing it. Let's take America back to when we literally got it off the milk, out the cow, and just drank it straight up like that. These folks are out of their minds. They're out of their minds.
But this is why
platforms that can reach millions.
But here's the deal. This is what makes us so skillful. And this is what they don't understand. It is an art, a sport, if you will, unfortunately, because they hunt us too, that surviving while being Black in America is a commodity. Because like you just said, they are willing to just say, forget pasteurizing, homogenizing, all of that, refining. Right. Just drink it straight from the titty of the cow. If I can snort coke off a toilet seat, you too can survive drinking straight from the cow's titty. That is exactly what is being said. And I'm like, what? And don't let it be artesian cow milk. What's wrong? They're not that sick. We can just get them from artesian. I think, all jokes aside, it is always something, and the something is distraction. Yes. How about them Epstein files? How's it working out in the UK?
And the UK is showing us this is what we do here. We're never going to let someone be bigger than the program. And in the United States, we keep celebrities almost like they've cured cancer. And in the UK, you look at the papers. Fleet Street was always on someone's butt about doing something wrong. Even down to the royal family itself. You're not going to be allowed to do what you want to do and get away with it. But here in this country, you can. You can become the president of the United States as a felon. You can't even get a job in my newspaper as a felon. But you can become president of the United States. But the UK is showing us, no, man, even one of our own, the royal family, we got to check them. We have to check them.
One thing about the UK, they don't like pedophiles. That's what they call them.
No, they're not big on that.
Oh, no.
They don't like that.
And the headlines was just gruesome today.
Oh, gruesome.
Oh, they dog walk.
Newspapering at its finest. Fleet Street was working overtime. They've always been nasty when it comes to a good headline now. So I knew they were going to run with this one. So they did some really good ones.
Oh,
some
man.
Really good ones.
This is the time where if you a journalist, you happy to jump in the garbage can and dig out whatever you can find. Whatever rapper, whatever you can get. Absolutely.
That's a free press. We're talking about people who are lineages to own the country, and we're still going to talk crap about them because we have the right to do it. That's a free press. He did something wrong. We got some proof of that. We're running with it. And no one, and the Queen can't say, hey, or King can't say, hey, stop that. You can't do that. No, we're going to run with this. You can't do nothing about it. That's a free press. Take note, United States of America. That's what a free press looks like.
Oh, they taking note. Trump said it's a shame what they doing. He was a nice man. They ought to be ashamed of themselves. What is you? They taking note.
Yeah.
Well, one thing about it,
Unbelievable.
yeah, they've called him. I'm pulling up some of the outlines. Thrown out, outcast. They've always
Right.
come for him. Now he's sweating. Oh, the law must take its course.
Right.
They have been going in on him. They got finally the Andrew formerly known as Prince. Like the UK go
Well
hard
done.
with their
Well done.
headlines.
Well done. As a newspaper guy, I like that one, but that was well done. That one was close to my heart. That was well.
Yeah,
Somebody came up with that and punched the air with that one. Like, yeah.
Yeah, the Andrew formerly known as Prince.
Formerly known as Prince.
Listen, when
Well
we
done.
come back, I want to talk about the Epstein files because from a Black America perspective, I know a number of us are just resting assured, the vast majority were not Black. But the bottom line, those that are don't even get an iota of support. And these victims have went ignored. I want to talk about this because Lutnick, those that are still in high places have paid positions, and your president wanted to go away, Donell, and it's not going away. And I want to talk to you about why. You all don't want to miss this. We'll be back.
More from Cleopatra coming up next on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Catch Reverend Al Sharpton online at WVON.com or on the WVON app. Just click the Al Sharpton banner. Tune in every day at 12 noon for your daily dose. And if you miss it, catch the overnight replay from midnight to 3 a.m. We're keeping it real with Al Sharpton on WVON 1690.
Tell everybody, Reverend Al told you personally, keep it real. Keep it real. Whatever you do, keep it real.
Have you checked out WVON's digital streaming network, Vaughn TV? It's everywhere on Roku, Apple TV Plus, Amazon Fire, on the WVON app, and at VON.TV. Vaughn TV, it's cultural content on purpose.
There's no championship league for small business owners, but if there was, you'd be at the top of the standings. Because going pro with Lenovo Pro means you've got the winning formation, one-on-one advice, IT solutions, and customized hardware powered by Intel Core Ultra processors help you stay ahead of the competition. Business goes pro with Lenovo Pro. Sign up for free at lenovo.com/pro.
Lenovo.
Why'd I go to the doctor? Working on the farm, my heart kept skipping a beat. I didn't think much of it, but my daughters made me get checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Greetings, WVON family. It's your brother and friend, Bomani Obedelli of the Activist Hour. Join me on Saturday mornings as we discuss a holistic and public health approach to addressing community violence. We will also be discussing ways that we can create a safe, peaceful, economically thriving, and healthy communities. Join me Saturday mornings, 8 a.m. on WVON for the Activist Hour.
This place has a pulse. You hear it in the canopy, feel it in the ground. Life, fully illuminated, engulfs you. From the birds singing in the treetops above to the tiniest insects in the soil below, you take a deep, cleansing breath, filling your lungs with the essence of the forest. Now, imagine it's all gone. Healthy, life-giving forests reduced to nothing. No singing birds, no lush canopy, and water and food in short supply around the world. Time is running out to protect our forests, and without our love, they can and will disappear. It's our choice. Love it or lose it. Help protect our forests. Visit World Wildlife Fund at wwf.org/love.
And now back to the Cleopatra Show on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
3.5 million more documents dropped. And that's basically like a total of like 6 million, because you got to remember the millions that they kept finding after they said that there wasn't anything. Never. Even the history of the lottery, no one's ever been like, no, there's nothing here. Actually, there's millions. My bad. Remember, there was nothing for like a while. And then they were like, oh, we found a couple million. Oh, we found 2 million. All right, look, this is embarrassing to admit. We did find 3.5 more million. I know, it's hard to tell if we're incompetent or we're lying. I know.
And we are back on the Cleopatra Show. And of course, it's Funny Clip Fridays. Shout out to Josh Johnson. I mean, he's always funny. But is it funny when you have to show your hand and millions of files have come out, 2,000 plus videos, 1,800 images, 180,000 images, excuse me. And the list keeps growing. On the live line with us, all the way from Hot Atlanta, is Donell Suggs of the Atlanta Voice. And Donell, was that funny?
Hilarious. That guy, Josh Johnson, is unbelievable. So he's funny anyway, but that was funny. Went from there is no such thing to there is a such thing. So we got a little bit. So, okay, my bad. We have a whole lot. It's like, what happened? What are you guys trying to hide?
And on top of that, the redaction game, right? Like to shame
everything out of
the
it.
survivors, but cover up the men. I played this song. I might have to play it before you leave. I don't know if you heard the Dow song by Pam Bondi. Have you heard that song?
No.
Oh, I gotta play it. But listen, Pam, I'm gonna play it before you cut out. Pam is on the live line to join us in conversation. Pam, welcome to the show.
Good morning to both of you. I'm just going to stick, with you. And I appreciate all of the conversation and your expertise. So, Cleopatra, I know you're a professor and you like a little research. And here's to both of you. Is there any other species on Earth that rapes its offspring?
No.
So I'm sorry, what was the answer to that?
No, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Because I did the research, didn't see it. So then what we ask, what in the hell is wrong with human beings? We're supposed to have the intellectual capacity to rule this country, this world. And if you believe in our Heavenly Father, the Creator, that's what He wanted us to do, have dominion over all. So we failed in that proposition. So I just wanted to be clear about that, because you have people come on here and talk about what's wrong with us. No, there is a specific place in hell for people who are harming children. We are supposed to pray for, pray with, not on our children. Now, let me go just a little bit further. So we're discovering 9 and 10-year-olds as young as 9 and 10 been victims. This all coincides with what's in Virginia Giuffre's book. But here, let me lay another level on you. I heard this from Sister Joy Reid. Epstein had all kind of chairs and devices in his home, massage rooms, massage tables. He had a dentist chair. Now, you all listen to me clearly. He had a dentist chair, and it was for the removal of the victim's teeth, and so that they wouldn't bite when they perform a certain sexual act. Do you all hear what I'm saying to you?
Yeah.
The torture. He had a dentist chair, procedures performed on young girls, children, so that they could perform that act without biting. Now, we've already heard with the rapist in the White House, we've heard that he punched the girl for biting him. Do you see how all of these are collectively coming together? And they're getting it right in the UK. If we can't get rid of this pedophile, sexual, millionaire ring, then burn it down like Sodom and Gomorrah. Because we cannot live like this. I'm worried about the murder of our children. I'm worried about the rape of our children. And here's where I am, Cleopatra. Rapists need to be condemned to life imprisonment. That's where I am right now, because there's no one rapist. Rapists are serial. So I'm at the point, lock them up forever. And it's for their own good and for our own good. And I'll leave you all with that. And I'll hang up and listen to your comments.
Wonderful call.
Yeah, Donell, what do you say to that? Absolutely.
Listen, there are a lot of things that the human species does that an animal it's not even mentally capable of doing. So we want to there's a lot of things. And to have someone point that out, this is something I talk about all the time, some of the things that we allow ourselves to get into, that the simplest animal on the planet, an insect, wouldn't even do.
Mm-hmm.
It says a lot about us. And in this country in particular, let's be realistic, we don't have the power. Black Americans do not have the power here. Stop all that old. We don't. We had a president in the White House for 8 years, and we still did not he had to argue with his own Congress just to get things passed. These things are coming from a certain people. I know we don't want to hurt their feelings. I know we're scared of them, so we don't like to say certain things. These rings are not Black-owned, run, or operated. They're not. So let's start with the whole Americans. No. You know who's doing this stuff. You know who has the means to do this. We really should start pointing that out, too, when we also point out the people involved and Donald Trump's and Jeffrey Epstein's. Be clear who's bringing this here or bringing it wherever they're bringing it and created that here. I know it hurts people's feelings because you got that white neighbor you like so much, or you're married to a white man or white woman, and they would never. I get that. But let's be clear. This doesn't happen under our watch. It just doesn't. Yes, we do wrong things. We do a lot of stupid stuff, Black Americans. But this ain't us. This ain't on us. It's not. And I wish you would point that out, but I understand TV can't do it, and radio can't do it all the time, depending on who you advertise with. And I know that my paper would hate for me to do it in print, so we can't do it. But we got to be clear about where this comes from and who's involved in this, Cleo. We really do.
Oh, I mean, I'm always crystal clear. Bottom
I know
line,
you are.
And, in a world where I can be me, there's not a world without me. Let me be clear.
Amen.
I have to process what Pam just said about the dental chair.
It was beautiful.
But
that's unbelievable.
These are the same people genetically that remove parts from our women that were ancestors in slavery. These are the same people that raped us in slavery. The same people that operated with us with no medicine to create their practices. So I am not surprised by the wickedness she just said, because it has been elongated in almost everything that has been touched. So no, it does not surprise me. I am not surprised that she said what she said about the commander in sleep, because his cowardice would punch a woman in her face, because he also said he'd grab a woman between her legs. So it doesn't surprise me. But I got a song for you, because it's going to be a funny one before I close out and let you go. But before I let you go, for those that need to know how to get down with the Atlanta Voice, tell us that.
It's simple. On social media, BTHEE, Atlanta Voice, theatlantavoice.com. We're updating the website every day. We're covering national and local news. I will be in Chicago next Saturday for the homegoing service for Reverend Jesse Jackson. We covered his obituary, obviously. We have a special issue in the paper today, and I will be there on next Saturday, to cover it again. Again, this is the Black Atlanta's only newspaper. Only.
I want you to hear this,
So
this song. I got this tribute for you. You ready?
Okay.
How many of Epstein's co-conspirators have you indicted? How many perpetrators are you even?
The Dow right now is over 50,000. I don't know why you're laughing. That's what we should be talking about. The Dow right now. S&P at almost 7,000. The American people need to know this. Need to know how is the Dow.
Let me address the survivors, because that's
how is the Dow.
Yeah, that's what we need to know. This is why we need to continue to raise up the Epstein, because the Epstein files, because the woman, the person, the individual that is over the Department of Justice is worried about the Dow. Thank you so much for coming by the show, Donell.
Thank you for having me.
All right, we'll be back after this break.
I'm Candace McCollum, and here are your news headlines. Mayor Brandon Johnson joins the Cleopatra Show. Governor Pritzker says he is very disappointed in Bears' response to Indiana lawmakers advancing stadium bill. And dietitians emphasize importance of eating breakfast. We will have details on these stories and much more headed your way. National news from the Black Information Network is up next on Chicago's only urban talk radio station, WVON, 1690 AM, Berwyn, Chicago.
Here's BIN News Now. An unnamed suspect is in police custody for allegedly killing 3 people in a Southwest Detroit home. Joel Bond was friends for years with 66-year-old Norman Hamlin, one of the victims, who was a former U.S. Marine who had been reportedly missing this week.
Seem to have set up a safe environment for people to come over and use. And of course, as we know, that's dangerous. You don't know who's coming into your house.
The bodies of Hamlin, 72-year-old William Barrett, and 65-year-old Mark Barnett were found in the basement of a home on Edsel Street. Cases of respiratory illnesses are spiking at urgent care clinics across the New Orleans area after carnival season. Doctors are reporting 4 viruses circulating at the same time. Patients are testing positive for flu A, flu B, RSV, and COVID-19, resulting in what physicians are calling a quademic. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app. Now back to you, Terry.
The Trump administration is expanding the authority of immigration officers as part of the president's crackdown on migrants. Minnesota and Illinois are suing the administration over ongoing immigration enforcement.
And we ask that the courts will end the surge of thousands of DHS agents into Minnesota.
Minnesota's Black Attorney General Keith Ellison. ICE officers have been granted broader powers to detain legal refugees awaiting a green card to ensure they are re-vetted. Black House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries is calling for major reforms.
Taxpayer dollars should be used to make life more affordable for the American people, not brutalize or kill them, as we horrifically saw in Minneapolis.
According to a DHS memo, refugees must return to government custody for inspection and examination a year after their admission into the country. The new policy marks a shift from a 2010 memorandum stating that failure to obtain lawful permanent resident status was not a basis for removal from the country and not a proper basis for detention. Maryland's former Republican Governor Larry Hogan said local police will ignore a new law signed by the state's Black Governor Wes Moore that prevents them from working with immigration and customs enforcement. Hogan said during a governor's summit on Politico that local law enforcement officers feel a requirement to work with ICE. Hogan's comments follow Moore's decision to ban agreements allowing ICE to deputize local law enforcement officers to carry out immigration enforcement. Moore has pledged to continue coordinating on shared public safety and the lawful removal of non-citizen offenders who pose a risk to the public. The Trump administration is restoring an exhibit on slavery at a historic site in Philadelphia. This after a federal judge said the administration had until today to reinstate the exhibit at Independence National Historical Park. The exhibit details the lives of slaves owned by George Washington and his family. It was removed last month, and the city of Philadelphia sued for it to be restored, arguing the removal violated an agreement between the city and the National Park Service. The International Monetary Fund has approved over $90 million in funding for Niger. It includes support for climate resilience and sustainable development. The IMF says Niger's economic growth is expected to remain strong at 6.7% this year. Funding for the country's military-led government comes at the same time as recent political changes and a move to distance itself from traditional Western military alliances. Since the 2023 coup that saw General Abdourahmane Tiani's rise to power, Niger has focused on greater economic sovereignty. The funding rollout is happening at a critical time as the government seeks to stabilize the economy and reinforce public finances. Stay informed, stay connected, and subscribe. Follow VIN News this hour wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Terry McCready for the Black Information Network.
I'm Rufus Williams. Watch the new episode of Bound and Woven, where I sit down with a woman whose story shook this city and moved the nation. Anjanette Young, author of Past the Pain, joins me for a raw and honest conversation about trauma, accountability, and what it really takes to rebuild your life when the system fails you. This is an easy conversation, but it's necessary. Join me for Bound and Woven, streaming now on Vine TV, which you can catch on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV Plus, the WVON app, or simply go to von.tv.
For 70 years, the Humane Society of the United States has worked to end animal cruelty. Now, we're continuing that mission as Humane World for Animals, because we work around the globe to care for animals who are suffering today. And we tackle the root causes of cruelty for a kinder tomorrow. We are Humane World for Animals, and together we can make a difference. Help make change for animals. Visit humaneworld.org.
Pizza's here.
Oh, great. I'd love some, but I'm worried about my stomach issues.
If you're worried about having diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools, it may not just be stomach issues. It could be a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Greetings, WVON family. It's your brother and friend, Bomani Obadelli.
And your boy, Malcolm Weems.
Join us on Sunday evenings for a new exciting show, The Streets Are Talking.
We're going to bring you politics, finance, and all the things that matter to you.
It's all about the community.
And the money.
Sunday nights on WVON won't be the same.
It's going to be live. Check us out.
Every Sunday evening at 6 p.m., The Streets Are Talking.
This report is brought to you by Blindster.com. Kyle Cox started Blindster in his garage back in 2010. Since then, they've sold millions of custom blinds, shades, and shutters nationwide. Their blinds are DIY friendly, guaranteed to fit, and always cheaper than big box stores. Blindster.com.
WVON traffic and weather now.
Chicago, good morning and happy Friday. It is February 20th, another day, another blessing. Right now, those travel times, they are looking pretty good. We begin on I-57, I-80 to the Ryan. You're looking at a 16-minute ride to Bishop Ford. 8094 to the Ryan, 19 minutes if you're on the Stevenson, Tri-State 2, DuSable, Lakeshore Drive, 22, and the Edens, Lake Cook to Montrose, a 19-minute trip. Your weather for today, cloudy skies, very windy conditions, a high of 37. Tonight, a low of 27. Tomorrow, cloudy and a high of 38. I'm Candace McCollum with an update on the roads on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Live from the Xfinity Studios at WVON, it's the Cleopatra Show on Chicago's essential storyteller, 1690 WVON.
And we are back on the Cleopatra Show. The time is 11:09, and happy Black History Month. It is 100 years of celebrating. Thank you so much to Dr. Carter G. Woodson for this brilliant idea that started for just a week. And then after 25 years of practice, it went for a month. So thank you, big ups to him. And here at WVON, we get to practice 365 days of Black excellence, bringing the best of ourselves to you. And in saying that, we're going to bring up a special segment for those of us that are rocking with us on the Facebook Live via the StreamYard, and this beautiful picture of Professor Sally Nuamah, right? Nuamah. I still said it wrong. Nuamah. See, yo mama, what you trying to say? Let me tell you. So Professor Nuamah is on the live line with us, and she is coming straight out of Northwestern University, and she's a professor of human development and social policy, and she's a curator, right? She has a beautiful exhibit that we're going to learn something about. And Professor, are you with me?
I am. Thank you so much for having me. Super excited to be on the show.
Welcome to the Cleopatra Show. And, although I practice a lot, they still was talking about my mama. I said, Nuamah.
No worries, no worries. It is Sally Nuamah. And again, happy to be here on the show, Cleopatra.
Absolutely. My goal is to make you laugh, and you look amazing on our StreamYard, by the way.
Thank you.
So let's dive into it, because you got a lot going on. You got exhibits, you curating, you're just a scholar, you well-rounded.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm really excited. Again, happy Black History Month. Excited to celebrate 100 years. And this event is a part of that. The exhibition is called Orchard and Vine 1975, and it celebrates a Black-led, Black-owned, Black-occupied neighborhood in Chicago near North Side that has been managing itself and its own affairs and thriving for the past 50 years. And so this exhibition is celebrating this community and the fact that it's one that's, again, self-managed, collectively owned and operated, and has been here, but people don't really know about it.
Well, you know what? I did not share this with Sonia, so she's going to run in the studio. I had a really interesting assignment as a consultant, and it was exclusively towards cooperatives here with the National Public Housing Museum. And I did know about this, which is why I got super excited, because there were only a few. And because there are only a few, there were laws, policies that were instituted as soon as the few established to prohibit the population of said entities across the country, right? So the challenges of why they don't exist is because of their effectiveness. And we had one all the way out in Allgale. We have one down the street from me. I'm in Pullman. We have one in London Town. That we have one in Park Forest. So I'm like a nerd in real life, which is why my listening audience call me a professor, because I know a lot about a lot of random things, but they're good things, especially when we're talking about bringing together our wealth and working through the pains of housing, especially the instability juxtaposed to the limited stock. When you come together and pool your resources, you can not only sustain, but maintain. So I thank God for your work, and I look forward to diving into the details.
Absolutely. I just want to say I love that you're a nerd, and I'm so glad that you had the background to understand the real value of what this is. These kind of cooperatives do not exist, as you mentioned, any longer. Many of them were established around the same time when communities were looking for alternatives to traditional kind of extractive ways of thinking about ownership, where an individual owns a private house, and has their private fence and then are able to sell it for profit. This was the idea that collectively we could live in a safe, affordable neighborhood if we pool our resources, right, and focus more on sharing and passing down the housing itself as opposed to just the capital. And then, as you mentioned, as people took ownership of this and began to really embrace this and see this as an alternative to these more individual ways of living and engaging, that's when regulation started to stop it from being able to proliferate, which impacts the ability and availability of affordable housing now. So I really appreciate your comment.
Absolutely. If you've ever tried to, I done lived a lot of lives. So a lot of my walks, whether it was running for public office or things of that nature, block clubs, so on and so forth, you look at the fine print, they always ask you, are you a cooperative? And if you're a cooperative, you have to go this other route, especially if you check a box for housing and et cetera. So there's a caveat to it. And you're right that many of them, Park Forest particularly, which mirrors London Town. London Town was the premier of how a number of these were modeled after. So for those that are saying, well, Cleopatra, you talking about the houses on the east side of Cottage at 103rd, I absolutely am. Right. That community has rich history. To this day, the president has been there. She was one of the second Black family members to move there. Right. So the president of Park Forest is a good friend of mine. So this history, they were all incepted about the 70s, early 70s, 1970, 1971, 1972. That's when they were all built. And then that's when the hammer came. OK. And when you talk about making America great, it cannot be great if it was not for the backs of the working people and the working class. And then through that, by setting these interest rates at this grim rate that is at now is at a standstill. But back then, if you can get people to pay into 20, 30-year mortgages, you never go broke. But a cooperative has a different model, whereas it is a way to transfer wealth. It is a way to maintain and establish stability and make a community wealthy. So it's a different mindset. And when you think like that, then you become freer.
I love all of that because part of what we're doing even right now is helping educating people, right, on the value of this kind of model, letting people know that these kind of models exist, right? And that if we take a communal and collective approach to our wealth and well-being, it's actually better for us all. Because one thing that co-ops do, as you mentioned, is they help everyone pay into a single mortgage, right, which lowers the burden across the group. It also makes it more difficult to just sell because each person within the cooperative has to agree to that.
Correct.
It also stops people from soliciting communities in ways that are often exploitative. So that protects the community in addition. And then it transfers a kind of social capital. So if you look at Orchard and Vine, or specifically the Neighborhood Commons Cooperative, multiple generations have lived there. And they continue to have affordable ways of living that are passed down. And that's a kind of social capital that goes beyond just a traditional, like, financial way of doing things. And so people are now living in a positive neighborhood that has transportation, grocery stores, in the middle of the city, is close to places of employment, but it's affordable.
And
collectively, everyone benefits. Yes, please.
I failed to mention the cooperative at in Chatham, right there, 83rd. I just put the link up for those that want to understand what we're talking about. Neighborhood Commons has a wonderful website. And when you think about the collective, so ultimately maintenance, right?
Yeah.
They have a gated community, manicure lawns, free parking, bike racks, 24-hour maintenance call, and on-site security 7 days a week. So and a gym, and I saw a play area, which I love. But ultimately, the community is within community, but surrounded and submerged in a viable community. See, that is the absence that I cry about where I live. Now I live in Pullman, right? And it is socioeconomically divided by class. There's a predominantly white iteration of Pullman and a predominantly black iteration of Pullman. And then you recognize the monument in totality. And life is different on beyond 111th Street. But in essence, we all suffer because you can take a part or you can fight for the whole. I want to be a part of the whole, which is why I'm grateful what you're doing, Professor, in raising awareness, because cooperative living, it works well in Spain. And I know you know something about that, especially from an economic standpoint. So just as much as it works for a way of living, it works for a way of working where people can thrive. So I'm always on some Mrs. Rogers type stuff, right? What would a neighborhood be like? Would you be my neighbor? Only if we can live good, if we can eat good, if we can be good, as I tell my 4-year-old. When we come back, I have Professor Sally Nuamah, and she is bringing energy, life to what is already exists, and to remind us there's a better way of how we can come together cooperatively. And I love it. And I know you do too. We'll be back after this break.
More from Cleopatra coming up next on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
A brand new year is the perfect time to set new goals, like letting your money make more money for you. Your financial future can start growing today. This is Hiram Malone, Vice President and Community President of United Fidelity Bank. Right now, we're offering a competitive 6-month CD term with a 4.20% annual percentage yield. That's a smart, secure way to make your money grow for you. Come and see my team today to open your high-yield United Fidelity CD at our Chicago flagship branch at 1701 West 87th Street. At United Fidelity Bank, we're not a big box bank. We're your neighbors, a team dedicated to exceptional customer service and personalized financial solutions tailored to your goals. Bank with us and get the experience you need and the service you deserve. Start earning more with United Fidelity Bank. Online, Visit UnitedFidelity.com.
Rates are subject to change at any time. CDs renew automatically to a standard rate in effect at the time of renewal unless instructed otherwise. Member FDIC.
This Saturday, February 21st, join Rainbow Push at the national headquarters, 930 East 50th Street in Chicago, as clergy from across the city gather to honor the prophetic leadership and enduring impact of Reverend Jesse L. Jackson Sr. It's a powerful day of remembrance, service, civic engagement as we keep hope alive. Doors open at 8 a.m. with breakfast. The Chicago Clergy Tribute begins at 9, and the Saturday morning forum starts at 10 a.m., moderated by Reverend James Meeks. Plus winter outreach, volunteer opportunities, and women's issues U.S. Senate candidate forum. Music will be provided by the Chicago Community Chorus under the direction of Keith T. Hampton. Be informed, be engaged, be present. This Saturday at Rainbow Push National Headquarters, 930 East 50th Street in Chicago. For more information, visit rainbowpush.org.
Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive.
Why'd I go to the doctor? Working on the farm, my heart kept skipping a beat. I didn't think much of it, but my daughters made me get checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
There's no championship league for small business owners, but if there was, you'd be at the top of the standings. Because going pro with Lenovo Pro means you've got the winning formation, one-on-one advice, IT solutions, and customized hardware powered by Intel Core Ultra processors help you stay ahead of the competition. Business goes pro with Lenovo Pro. Sign up for free at lenovo.com/pro.
Lenovo.
This is your host and life coach, Linnell Harris, and I want you to join me every Sunday morning from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. for Inspirational Perspective. On Inspirational Perspective, we talk life vision, life purpose, and the show is all about helping you live the best life possible. So join me as we look at supporting you in living the life you intend to live and making your life's vision a reality. Every Sunday morning at 7 a.m. on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 a.m. WVON.
And now back to the Cleopatra Show on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And we are back. The time is 11:23, and I played that because I done found my long lost cousin. That's right. Professor Sally Nuamah is brilliant. And we just put in the chat for those who want to know something about it, how you can find her. But more importantly, she has bodies of work. Recent book, Closed for Democracy, speaks to the public school closings and how it undermined the citizenship of Black Americans. And we are discussing cooperatives. See, if you know something about it, you do. But the reason why you don't is because they don't want you to know. But Professor Sally Nuamah is going to tell everybody, right? Especially in Lincoln Park, of all places. You know how hard it is to move into Lincoln Park? It is extremely challenging for one reason. They don't want you to move in Lincoln Park. That's why the prices are so high. Professor, talk to me.
For sure. So one thing that's important to note is that many people don't realize the presence of Black people in Lincoln Park, in the Old Town area, in the Near North area. When people think about places like Cabrini Green or Marshallfield Gardens and Neighborhood Commons Cooperative, because of the history of segregation in Chicago, they don't even realize it's on the north side, let alone bounded by Old Town or Lincoln Park. But these neighborhoods existed and Black communities lived there long before a lot of the white folks that have come to shape what people think of as contemporary Lincoln Park. So all down Orchard, down at parts of Vine, down Larrabee, Black communities own single-family homes, own communities, own developments, and Neighborhood Commons Cooperative is a part of that. So in 1973 or so, just like the other communities you mentioned earlier, Cleopatra, Richard Dick Brown, a Black man, went to the Department of Housing and Urban Development and proposed this idea of a co-op for Black people who came from Cabrini Green and other surrounding areas, again, who were in this Lincoln Park Old Town area, to be able to have affordable, comfortable living for the working class. HUD agreed, and in 1975, the first building was up. By 1978, it expanded to about 12 to 14 buildings and housed over 200 families. But as you know, the Plan for Transformation and other kinds of regulations and policies began to see Black folks living in these kind of communal ways, and lots of efforts began to initiate the closure of them. So we saw the closing of the Cabrini Green projects. We saw basically most of Marshallville Gardens close down. We see Stayaway Gardens close down. We see all of these other housing developments closing down. And what Neighborhood Commons Cooperative residents decided to do was to come together and actually create a co-op. And what that meant is that they took the funding and the mortgage that HUD was essentially using to fund this essentially more subsidized development and made it a co-op so that they completely owned the space. Them, in addition to a few other communities that you mentioned already. Well, so by 1996, about 30 years ago, so we're actually celebrating 30 years as a co-op, they took over and became an official cooperative residency. And as we talked about before, what that created was a context where they could have self-determination, they could maintain the spaces the way they wish, they could keep the prices low, they could plant flowers and trees and put up fences and do the things that allow them to live with dignity collectively as a Black community. And so it's been successful in doing so since. But what's so interesting is how this community that's been around since before a lot of the gentrification that you see, before a lot of non-Black residents moved in, is now being perceived as a little bit of like an accessory to the community as opposed to sort of the main people who were there first.
And that's usually how it goes. But one thing about it, I appreciate your scholarly work to document this. And I look forward to showing up and supporting you however I can, because I know the importance of it. I've shared it with my audience because I see that they have applications to be downloaded. And there are pathways of how, and we want to talk about self-determination. You don't just have to talk about it at the end of December. That is throughout our life and our practice. And it does not just reside within the practices of Kwanzaa. It is a life action that you take, and it's a mantle that you don't break, you build. And because it's already been established, let's do this. So I know you have an event coming up, so tell my listening audience about it.
Absolutely. So Orchard and Vine 1975 is an exhibition of photographs, archival materials, and memorabilia that honor and commemorate how past and present residents of Neighborhood Commons Cooperative continue to sustain collective life through cooperation and care. And so the exhibition is happening on February 22nd, this Sunday at 2 p.m. At the Near North Library. That's 310 West Division. It is open to the public, free and open to the public. It exists within the Cabrini Green community. And we're going to have free food, and we're going to have a film that also includes the oral stories of people in the community, past and present. And we're just going to have a good time. So we really hope that people are able to come out again this Sunday, February 22nd at 2 p.m. at the Near North Library, 310 West Division Street, to see the exhibition Orchard and Vine 1975.
I appreciate you. I thank you for the work. And we definitely love to hear about positive things in the neighborhood. So keep up the good work, and I look forward to welcoming you back soon.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking the time.
Absolutely. Listen, guys, when we come back, it's that time for news. We're going to check in with Candace so you can get any news only you can use. When we come back, it's Funny Clip Fridays. You don't want to miss it.
I'm Candace McCollum, and here's what's happening in your local and national news. Democratic House Leader Hakeem Jeffries was a guest on the Rufus Williams Show. Jeffries expressed what Reverend Jesse Jackson means to him and the legacy that Jackson leaves behind.
Well, Reverend Jackson was a profound, legendary transformational American hero. You know, one of those individuals who, because of his presence and his leadership, his commitment to making life better for the American people, he bent the arc of the moral universe toward justice, inspired millions of people, myself included, with his presidential runs, with his advocacy, his eloquence, you know, and his commitment to building this rainbow coalition, this gorgeous mosaic of people here in America, to make this country the best version of herself.
Services for Jackson begin next week with a lying in state at the Rainbow Push Coalition on Thursday and Friday. Formal services will also be held in South Carolina and Washington, D.C. on March 1st through the 4th. The People's Celebration takes place March 6th at the House of Hope, with private homegoing services being held the next day at Rainbow Push. In other news, the Cook County State's Attorney's Office is unveiling guidelines for filing charges against federal immigration agents accused of criminal activity. Cook County State's Attorney Eileen O'Neill Burke says under the guidance, law enforcement agencies will lead criminal investigations by collecting and preserving evidence. Prosecutors will then conduct an independent review of all evidence and make charging decisions. Prosecutors must also consider federal immunity, which gives some protection for agents. Johnson's administration called the mayor's order and the state's attorney's protocol aligned facets of the same public safety framework. And the health website WebMD is offering a series of tips for people to follow in order to help keep their elderly parents healthy. Chris Caraccio explains.
Doctors for the site say people should know their parents' normal temperature because some older folks have lower body temperatures than normal. Also, have a good knowledge of the parent's medical history and bring records when bringing them to the doctor. WebMD doctors also say dehydration is a common cause for many disorders in older adults, and the general advice is to drink 8 glasses of water a day. Doctors also recommend getting a reliable blood pressure monitor for frequent blood pressure readings. I'm Chris Caraccio.
I'm Candace McCollum, and that's what's happening in your news now on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
That's another amazing run by Team USA.
Mom, think I'll be on Team USA one day?
Well, I'll take this one.
What? Are you speaking to us?
Yes, and to answer your question, anything's possible, especially with Xfinity.
So I can be the best snowboarder ever?
Well, I can't guarantee that, but Xfinity can guarantee that your internet price won't change for 5 years.
Okay. What if I practice every day?
Then maybe you'll be snowboarding for Team USA at the next Olympic Winter Games. And Mom, you'll still be paying the same price for Wi-Fi.
Ooh, really stuck the landing there.
It's the Xfinity Gold Medal Celebration. Now through February 22nd, get our best price on gig Wi-Fi for 5 years guaranteed, just $50 a month. Plus, get Peacock Premium included for 2 years. That's a $10.99 value per month. Xfinity. Imagine that. Proud partner of Team USA. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Taxes and fees extra. Actual speeds vary.
Hey, it's Cleopatra Draper. Join me for the Midday Show weekdays at 9 a.m. where we'll sip and spill all the tea. Do you want it hot or cold? Either way, we're serving up the flavor of the day. Weekdays at 9 a.m. right here on the station giving you what's now and what's next. 1690 WVON.
Every Sunday, now you'll be able to listen to the First Church of Deliverance here on 1690 WVON and on the iHeartRadio app at 11 p.m. Tune in for inspirational music, powerful word, and a blessing from the Lord. That's the First Church of Deliverance, Sundays at 11 p.m. right here on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON. Follow us at fcdchicago.org.
This report is brought to you by Blindster.com. Kyle Cox started Blindster in his garage back in 2010. Since then, they've sold millions of custom blinds, shades, and shutters nationwide. Their blinds are DIY friendly, guaranteed to fit, and always cheaper than big box stores. Blindster.com.
WVON traffic and weather now.
Chicago, happy Friday and good morning. We begin on the Kennedy O'Hare to downtown, 24 minutes. Right now on the Eisenhower Wolf to the post office. A 25-minute trip in I-57 and the Bishop Ford, looking good in both directions. Smooth sailing. Your weather for today, a cloudy day, very windy. A high of 37, tonight a low of 27. Tomorrow a high of 40 and cloudy. I'm Candace McCollum with an update on the roads on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And now back to the Cleopatra Show on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
If I listen to your lies, would you say I'm a man without conviction? I'm a man who doesn't know how to sell the contradiction. You come and go, you come and go. Come a chameleon. You come and go, you come and go. Love is in the colors like my dream.
Claimed he only stayed with Epstein to tell him they could no longer be friends. But he then stayed round his house for the next 4 days. How does that work? We cannot be friends. I'm a member of the royal family and we will not socialize with sex offenders. I will see you at dinner. And breakfast tomorrow and tennis on Tuesday. And we're still on for Jersey boys. But after that, we are through. Andrew claimed he...
And we are back. The time is 11:37. You heard him. That was a funny clip. And we played a throwback. That come a chameleon, right? Sonia was kind enough to pull up. What does it mean? I'm going to share with you what it says. Karma Chameleon by Culture Club is primarily about the fear of alienation and the struggle to be true to oneself rather than changing to please others. Boy George explained it highlights the consequences of not standing up for one's beliefs, or karma justice, where, like a chameleon, hiding one's true nature leads to being paid back. We thought that may be befitting, so thank you, Parker. And Sonia ultimately, was the clip funny? I think Prince Andrews is about to get the book thrown at him, and the conviction is death. What they are leaning towards is a centuries-old law that is being used to raise up his actions and involvement. And they're taking this very seriously. And the accusations are clear. I was sharing with Titus, and I want to play another clip. I'm going to send it to you right now, Parker. Brother Umar was talking about who Epstein truly was. And it makes sense when you start to see the unraveling. It's not enough to say men in high places or powerful men. These people are across the globe. So when Bondi is flat out saying, if we were to go after these people, the entire system would collapse. In translation, she is saying the world as we know it. But if this is who is at the hem of it, then Berna, you know what down. Because if this is the glue that is holding this shack together, my God, I'd rather stand and bask in the rain than to be covered under this wicked shelter. That is me saying that. And when you start to think, and I thank God for Pam calling in to talk about the dental chair, it made me cringe. It made me cringe because it is an elongated practice that was abused through our ancestors who were the enslaved Africans that were abused through chattel slavery and used to practice for medicine, used to breed, used to grow crops, used to build buildings that we couldn't even be in. Meanwhile, back on the ranch, the public housing that we're providing the Trump family that he is determined to tear down, there's nothing to see here. The devil is a lot. It is a lot to see here. And it continues to unravel in the most gruesome of ways. But here's my real question is, where is MAGA? You know, MAGA was on to something. I won't take that away from them in terms of exposing the pedophiles. You know, when they were saying it sounded, you know, out of this world. And now that here's the gift of that keeps on giving of the millions and millions of files, videos, and images and documents. What say you? When the president of your country is listed 38,000 times and counting, what say you? Where you at? You know, he's in images and all kind of stuff. Like Pam said, he punched a girl that had been trafficked and raped and abused in the face because she bit him. You know, typically what that means is she was involved in something that she didn't want to do, and the only way to defend herself was to bite, right? It's disturbing to say. It is profoundly pathetic that you could have had anything in the world and you took advantage of the thing or the people that should have been protected in the world. But here it is. I remind us that the richest man in the world continues to starve the poorest children of the world. That is cruelty. That is sick and that is wicked. So for all of those that denied that they were on Epstein's rape island, definitely were begging. If they wasn't there, they were begging to get there. Because like what's the guy that owned Twitter? The Afrikaner, you know,
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk, thank you. When you think of Elon Musk, the muskrat, he was begging to go only if it was the wildest party, the wildest opportunity. So that lets you know right then and there, he knew what time it was. It is something to be said about this. So as I sent off this clip to be played, I want you all to listen to Brother Umar, who was on the money in his theory as to who, I know you don't, I'm about to send it, as to who Jeffrey Epstein truly was. And it is a thought, but it is one that I think is real, because now you have it. When you think about Epstein's brother, he proclaims his brother didn't commit suicide. He is proclaiming he was killed. And when you start to put together all of the friends he had, these some dangerous players. This is not the normal crew of people to kick it with. Power, money, and the obsession for more is a dangerous breeding ground. Let me know when you're ready. We're going to play this clip. You want to listen.
Epstein Files, the shocking truth revealed.
Some people ask the question, why is Donald Trump doing everything the Zionists are asking of him? The reason Donald Trump is doing everything, Art, that the Zionists are asking of him, because Donald Trump is in those Epstein files. Donald Trump is in those Epstein files. Congress has already ordered the Department of Justice, Art, to release all the Epstein files by Friday. Congress ordered the Justice Department, Donald Trump's Justice Department, to release all the files by Friday. Just today, Art, they released some more today. And guess what? Donald Trump's name is mentioned in those files allegedly hundreds of times. There is clear proof that Donald Trump was on Epstein's jet multiple times. And the question is being asked by the media, even if Donald Trump did not engage in any of the sex abuse of children and adults, was he aware of it? Because if he was aware of it, he can be charged as an accomplice to the crime. And here's the thing. Jeffrey Epstein, Art, was a Mossad agent. Jeffrey Epstein was Israeli secret intelligence. Jeffrey Epstein was Israeli secret intelligence. And I believe that the Mossad, the Israeli Secret Service, used Jeffrey Epstein to blackmail all of the top politicians, all of the top businessmen, and all of the top politicians, businessmen, and entertainers in America in order to coerce them, Art, to do whatever the Zionists want them to do. And if you don't, we will expose your participation in the Epstein ring. Art, Donald Trump can't get out of this if he wanted to.
He can't get out of if he wanted to. He is as soldered as my wedding ring is to my band. I wanted to play that because it made me think, who was Epstein, right? Like, you know, he is the most alive dead man down my timeline. And to speak this boldly from the grave, it is something. And he just won't go away. And you can't make it go away. And the vessel that was using him, it made me think, you know, when she said, if I was to go after this, the whole system would collapse. It is all lining up in a way that makes me think, you know, for what it's worth, MAGA begged the question and demanded. Now the question is answered. What do you say now? What do you do? When we come back, I do have a funny clip, but I had to make us think because I wanted you all to mull over something over the weekend. You know, for those that can't understand why is this important, it is valuable. It is critical. It is an asset. And the United Kingdom is not playing. If the king can allow the law to do what it's supposed to do when it comes to his brother, to whose are we to not allow the law to do what it's supposed to do when it comes to folks that hold the highest positions in the lay of the land, that is the United States of America. We'll be back after this break.
More from Cleopatra coming up next on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Black Creativity 2026 is now open at the Griffin Museum of Science and Industry. The exhibit features the nation's longest running exhibition of Black art, plus interactive family experiences, STEAM career showcases, youth flight school camps, and signature events throughout the season. From art and innovation to education and community celebration, Black Creativity uplifts the voices, stories, and contributions of Black artists across generations. Buy tickets today at griffinmsi.org.
Chicago Medicine Ingalls Memorial believes a few things. They believe that care that knows your life is care that knows your needs. That world-class care belongs in your neighborhood. That care that listens to you is care that's made for you. From primary and specialty care to emergency department services, comprehensive health care is under one roof in Calumet City, Flossmoor, Harvey, and Tinley Park, providing you and your family the best care possible. Visit uchicagomedicine.org/FCC to find what you need close to home.
Tuned in to your favorite WVON personalities on Facebook Live? Don't just watch, like it, love it, share it. Every click helps us grow the conversation and keep the community strong. So remember, like it, love it, share it, Chicago.
It's Gospel with Pam Morris Walton, your gospel sister, on WVON Sundays, 11 to 2 p.m. Music to help you on your journey. I'll see you there, WVON.
Have you checked out WVON's digital streaming network, Bond TV? It's everywhere on Roku, Apple TV Plus, Amazon Fire, on the WVON app, and at VON.TV. Bond TV, it's cultural content on purpose.
Maria Pappas with Black Houses Matter.
We're up to $385,632,000. This is 208,000 African Americans that this little WVON station has delivered $385 million to. I mean, this is newsworthy.
Cook County Treasurer Maria Pappas with Black Houses Matter. Monday mornings at 11:30 a.m. on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON. And now back to the Cleopatra Show on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
I don't trust white people with God. No. I won't let them tell me nothing about God. It ain't right. It just seems like they don't know him. It's like they be telling you, be like, you don't know him, man. Just stop, all right? See, the Lord understands you, Michael. I'm like, no, that ain't, you don't know who you talking about. Black people know God, man. We've been through so much, we know God, and we always begging him for something. So, you know, we didn't force the relationship on this man. Your grandmama been bugging him since 1802. She done prayed to him 400 times a day. You know, God got a prayer line, and when he hit and see the black people, he say, oh, Lord, here we go. Let me see what he going on now.
And we are back on the Cleopatra Show. The time is 11:52. That is my Funny Clip Friday. The phone lines are yours. I want to hear your thoughts. It has been a lot. This week has been heavy. 773-591-1690. You know, it's been an honor to give a tribute to the late, great Reverend Jesse Louis Jackson Sr. Almost daily. It's almost to the point where I'd be like, oh, Sonia, we could do this tomorrow, blah, 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 blah. Because he was just so dynamic. He truly was. But I went home heavy every day, not because he's transcended. It is because I need for us to know that we are ready to work alongside and to continue to build where he has already been. And because we have the privilege of being the home of the national headquarters of the Rainbow Push Coalition, that is beautiful. So I expect that we take advantage, as Ms. Eunice has said, of our Saturday morning forums. I expect that we come and learn the tools and the art of organizing and to work on said assignments and to show up and show out, because it cannot be done alone. And the burden cannot just be to the Jackson family. It cannot, and it will not. And a multitude of capacities. We have our gifts and where we can serve and what we can do. And then there are areas of where we can grow, and there's opportunities for us to collectively build. In addition to that, meanwhile, back on the ranch, surviving while being Black, there's some races, some key races where there are going to be an immense amount of saturation, a lot of it rhetoric. You know, keep your eye on the prize and your head on the swivel. There is a United States Senate seat that is open. Senator Dick Durbin stepping down, 30 plus years of service in that seat. And we have the opportunity to sail the ship. And folks have tipped their hand to said candidates, but we have the opportunity to sail the ship. There are forums everywhere. You have opportunity to go hear about all of the candidates and be educated and informed. But one thing about it, be mindful of those that have been doing the work and the work that they've been doing. And then the work that you expect. So when you come to inspect what you expect, you won't be dismally disappointed. Now, for the congressional seats, a lot, heavy. All across the board. I think this is probably unprecedented. 2, 8, 9, 7. Congressman Danny Davis was on just yesterday. Robin Kelly is running for U.S. Senate. So therefore, ergo, that seat is available. Jan Sikowski is stepping down. I mean, heavy. The list goes on and on. So on top of that, going back to Pennsylvania Avenue, it is always something coming out of there. So I recognize that news can be overbearing. And I pray and hope that you all appreciate the work that we do at the Cleopatra Show to have this delicate balance. It's a delicate balance. Like my pastor, Otis Moss III, shout out to our Trinitarians that are listening. I thoroughly enjoyed the presentation of Henry Louis Gates. Professor Gates was phenomenal, but Mr. Montgomery, he was something special. I thoroughly enjoyed it. For all of those that turned an ire to my babies as they were being babies, I'm going to pray for you. You know not what you do. Even though our pastor reminds you not to treat us like that, you know not what you do. They're babies. And no, I don't have to put them in children's church. They're going to sit right on my lap because Professor Gates is a walking piece of history. And if we're going to bear witness to all of the goodness, to learn about the special gifts and those that made a way to create Mr. Montgomery, why wouldn't my children be there to be a part of the journey? I need us to think about that before you turn an ire to a baby. Babies, noise that children make in the church is a good thing. Need you to be reminded. In addition to that, I had a blast, a humbling experience to be the master of ceremony for Mayor Brandon Johnson's Black History Month celebration. It is a delight to have seen so many folks come out last night and be of support. You know, so all of this consistency. Tomorrow, I have the privilege to be with Rosalind Ceasefire Incorporated, the wonderful work that Rosalind Ceasefire does, headed by Mr. Bob Jackson. And their infinite wisdom, they are honoring me with the Rosa Parks Award. I'm humbled. I was making sure it wasn't a typo. I was like, did y'all mean to send this to me? No, I'm just playing. But ultimately, my family and I will be present tomorrow at their beautiful annual Black History Month event that I've been to through the years. And I'm humbled to receive that. So that's where the Drapers will be in the morning. Now, there are immense amount of opportunities throughout, but more importantly, I want you all to think about all of this heaviness and find somewhere where you can put up the fight. Find somewhere, as Michael O'Connor was saying, that you can get in the fight and be directed and guided by your practices and your virtues and what is rooted in your reason as to why you fight. I think that is most important. It could be your community. It could be your practice. It could be whatever it is, but remember to practice what you preach. And in order to do that, you have to serve. So I am delighted to have been with you all for Funny Clip Fridays and throughout the week. I look forward to a fantastic show on Monday. I'm going to tell you all about my weekend, and I'm going to talk all about this Rosa Parks Award because I'm so humbled by the work that Rosalind Ceasefire does and continues to do. And for me to be recognized is just amazing. I'm grateful for it. And I look forward to bringing you all some piping hot tea on Monday. You never know what's going to come out of the Commander-in-Sleep's mouth when he's woke. But one thing about it, Black America, I know one thing, this too shall pass. So I look forward to being with you at 9 a.m. on Monday morning. That means to bring in the music. No, my music. What is this? Get it right, Parker. Where's my Titus? Now, Monday morning, 9 a.m., the Cleopatra Show will be here piping hot as we continue to raise up the vibrations of the spirit of the late, great Reverend Jesse Lewis Jackson Sr. As you all heard, my colleague has given us the services and the information that is pouring out as to him laying in state at the Rainbow Push Coalition headquarters. I think that is amazing. So I look forward to being with you all 9 a.m. Thanks so much for being with us today. See you all. Be sure to like and share the show. I see you all in the chat. Like and share the show and tell everybody to follow us at WVON across all social media platforms.
I'm Candace McCollum, and here are your news headlines. The state of Illinois honors Reverend Jesse Jackson. 2 members of Chicago dance team identified as victims killed in crash. And SCOTUS rejects Trump's tariffs. We will have details on these stories and much more headed